were going with one of the translators.
No, because it's WBCN 770 AM.
Yeah.
So I wonder if someone wanted some news station wanted the WWCN.
Yeah.
CNN, if you know what I mean. The You Can't Hear Out of the Parking Lot AM in Atlanta, Georgia on 680, if I remember right. Home of your Atlanta Knights.
There you go.
And Georgia Tech sports.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, as we end the week together here on the Florida Sports Network? Thanks so much for being with us. Been a good week so far. We'll end it with Pat Kirwan. We'll look in on the Packers, another one of those teams who have 2 first-round picks. We'll be curious if they keep them both. They're both in the 20s. How are you?
I'm great. Big weekend at the Miller household.
Really?
Daughter's first communion this weekend. We've got my son flew in town yesterday. My mother-in-law flew in town last night. The brother-in-law and sister-in-law get in today.
Oh, wow. That's twice in like a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then her godfather gets in later this afternoon with his 3 kids. So full on.
Are they all staying at the house?
Hell no.
Well, it's just
Are you kidding me?
Well, you do have a decent size house, right? You've got you have 2 bedrooms that are not used on a regular basis. I didn't know.
Well, mother-in-law gets 1.
Well,
and then the cousins will get the house. The brother and sister-in-law are staying at a hotel, and the godfather's staying at a hotel.
Okay. Just curious, that's all.
Staying at the house.
What
are you crazy?
Some families are big into the whole, oh, no, if you come into town, we'll take care of you. You could stay here, get out the sleeping bags and, the blow-up beds, and don't you worry. We're all one big happy family. You keep the costs down. There are families like that.
There are. I don't know if they sound exactly like that, but I think they do. In my ears, they sound exactly like that. Not sure if you can do that again, but that's the sound that I would recognize.
When we go to Jersey, my mom is big on everybody staying at the house. She doesn't want us spending money on hotels. And for a long time, I keep going, there's a Red Roof Inn down the street to the right. There's less than 10 minutes. She goes, no. We'll get the blow-up beds and okay.
Because there's nothing more comfortable than being in your 50s and sleeping on an air mattress.
Listen, sleeping on it's not the rough part. It's getting down to it and then getting up from it. That's the rough part. Sleeping on it's fine. I mean, let's face it. Once you get into your 50s, you're not sleeping all that great anyway. I mean, so everything feels about the same.
It's a dadgum good point. It's the getting up and the getting down. Yeah. And there's one extra get up and get down for most of us that are in our 50s. There's might be one middle of the night get up. Right. That's a hell of a get up right there.
The $37 sleeping bag and the $5,400 mattress don't feel a whole lot different. Apparently, the mattress can go up and down and take your temperature and give you a number and all that. But, the sleeping bags, it's similar, to be honest. So, once you're asleep, whatever. So that's all. I was just wondering.
But then, then this just leads to, when you get a lot of people together, just basically what you're doing after that is planning the meals.
And a lot of them.
That's really all it is.
Right. When are we eating?
When are we eating? What are we eating?
Right.
What are you having? What are we going to do for lunch?
Right. We just had a little get together. And what'd you do? 3+ days later, a buddy of mine called me. What'd you do? Well, we sat around, we talked, we ate. Oh, okay. That was Friday. Well, no, that was Saturday,
and Sunday.
And half of Monday till I drove home. Yeah.
And then on the drive home, I stopped up and took a bag of crystals just to keep myself
Right.
honest.
I mean, I just wanted to test out my theory. Are these as mediocre as I thought they were? And the answer is yeah. So there you have it. Miller and Moulton. It was a fun sports day yesterday. It started in the afternoon, Cabrera's pursuit of 3,000. We had some hockey games with some meaning last night in which maybe certain teams said, okay, the playoffs are, I can see them from here. We're going to get serious now. And then the NBA was wild last night. And that's just the Memphis-Minnesota game. Never mind, the other two were pretty wild also. And the road teams go 3-0 straight up last night in the NBA playoffs.
2 of the 3 road teams were favored, for the record. I mean, both Memphis and Golden State were favored last night.
Memphis was favored? Really?
By 2, 1.5, 2. They were both close.
Okay. And Memphis was down a
26.
quarter. I mean, they were down basically a quarter at one point last night. They were down 16 going to the fourth, I believe.
It's the 3rd largest postseason comeback in the history of the sport, or I believe.
No big deal or anything.
Right.
They went on a 21-0 run in the third quarter.
Well, they went on a 15-0 run to end the first half and trailed by 7 at the half. I mean, that's how much. I mean, people were sending out tweets going, did Memphis miss the start time of the game? I mean, that's how bad it was. And then the T-Wolves come out of the locker room, and this baby's over. I mean, put the W up on the board. They're up 2-1 in this series. And then John, the boy, said, no. Come on. And besides, it's the T-Wolves. Sports is so damn great. And people who don't like sports, I just want to pull them aside and go, can you just tell me why? Can you tell me what in life? All right. What in life gives you more than what sports delivers on a daily basis? Family? No. No. I'm sorry. They don't. No. On the overall, yes. Day in, day out? Hell no. Hell no.
Tough getting that from a T-Wolves fan right now. The joy in sports, because they just watched their season end.
Well, now see, you can't say that.
Yeah, hold on.
Can't say that, although I think you're right. But you can't say that.
I just did say it. Okay? They
Put a
just
fork in
watched
'em?
their season end.
Put a fork in
You
them.
don't blow a game like that and come back, and you don't.
I will say, Felipe, we have an adage that we hold in the baseball playoffs. First team to blow a save in the series loses, because it almost feels like you have to win an extra game in the series. Now you have to win 5 out of the 7 is what it feels like.
Thank you.
And I think when you have a meltdown like this,
I mean, it affects the locker room for sure, but they could easily tie the series in the next game.
I understand they tie it, but then,
They could. But instead of being up 3-1, they have to win 5 games, essentially, because they blew last night.
I mean, you lead by 16 at home going to the fourth. 16 at home going to the fourth. I mean, come on, that baby's over. That baby's over. And not only that, you didn't blow it to Steph and the Warriors. You didn't blow it to the 64-win Suns team. I mean, Memphis has done squat in the playoffs. Squat as a group.
Also, Karl Anthony Towns just disappeared last night. He only took 4 shots and was in foul trouble.
Last night, or where's he been for this
where's
series?
he? Yeah,
I was going to ask him, because if he disappeared last night, that implies he's been there for the first 2 games.
no, because he had a good game too.
He did. Okay, but the rest of the team didn't. But what's interesting here is that he was terrible in the play-in game. He was not good in game 1. And he was really good in game 2, and he was not good in game 3. So they've had 4 meaningful games so far. He's 1 for 4. This is where reputations are made.
Now, I would say the only thing defending you and the T-Wolves is the Memphis reputation isn't all that much better than the T-Wolf reputation. So, to David's point, it's not like they're having to come back against the Suns or a team that's been there and done that. I will say, though, stick a fork in them, they're done.
This wasn't Reggie Miller and the Pacers. This wasn't Steph Curry and the Warriors. Okay, elite players, great all-time great players, and franchises who have done some things. I mean, the Pacers had a 10-year run in the playoffs where they went deep damn near every year, went to a finals, went to 4 conference finals.
This is a really good matchup, though.
No, it's if you just like hoop and if you like sports, this is a really fun series. They match up perfectly with one another. They're young, they're exciting, they both play with tempo.
But when you get outscored 37-12 in the fourth,
say that out loud. You're an NBA team. There's no one in the league that should be able to outscore you 37-12 in a quarter in a meaningful game, not a Tuesday night in December that we're mailing in with our 3 best players out for load management.
Turf Dude in the Twitch chat room says Norman thought the T-Wolves collapse was impressive.
There you go. Look at that.
And Felipe, just for perspective, they just did a 30 for 30 on his collapse.
I taped it. Yet to watch it. I'm watching it this afternoon. I'm told it's amazing and that he talks about everything.
Can't wait. I've got it on tape. Just have to probably Saturday morning for me while everybody's sleeping in, David, and I'll be up at 6. Hey, you know what? How about I watch the Norman 30 for 30?
How's that blow-up bed treating you?
You seen the cat?
Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Pat Kirwan to join us in our 8 o'clock hour. And MK Burgess getting up a little earlier than normal. Normally she's in our bonus hour because she's in the Central Time Zone. We begged, we pleaded a little bit. She'll join us after Pat to talk about the Packers and what they're thinking in the drafting at 22 and at 28. Miller and Moulton. Coming up, did you see the whole junior college pitcher?
Yes.
With the targeting?
Yes.
on the guy who hit the home run off him?
Junior college baseball game. Pitcher did not like the celebration of the home run hitter, and as he rounded third, he made a great tackle.
Destroyed him.
Oh, he clotheslined him.
Yeah, it was very impressive. There's fallout from it. And it will take some explaining. And we can decide whether or not they got it right. Coming up next. Miller and Moulton. Top of the morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Friday edition here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Mac, I'm a Tigers fan, and he had to walk him there. I knew it was coming. If they don't get the double play, if the guy can get his ass to first base, then the bases are loaded, and he's got a pitch to him.
Still evil.
Oh, it sucked.
It sucked.
By the way, the whole Tigers broadcast crew said this is the right decision by Boone.
I mean, it is.
All three of them.
I didn't have volume on at that point, but
All three of them said, you got to do this. I agree with you. 21-0 run and you're not calling a timeout. I mean, that's
a good point.
People were pointing out, hey, Phil Jackson and other guys with veteran teams, and they wouldn't call timeouts and what have you. But even Phil would have called the timeout during 21-0. 14-0 or something. He would have said, okay, that's enough. Bobby Knight doesn't like to call timeouts. He'd call timeout during 21-0.
Spo would have called timeout.
And the only coach in history who wouldn't call timeout during 21-0 is Joe B. Hall. But ask a Kentucky fan.
Spo would have done his signature thing where he just walks in the middle of center court, and that's the implication of, I'm calling a timeout.
Now, see, Klecko and Mac, if it was the final game of a homestand, all right, then I think it would have been an issue. But they're home tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Cabrera's going to get his 3,000th hit, and he's going to get it in front of the home crowd.
and he's going to get it in front of a better crowd because they're going to be playing a weekend set now with weekend crowds.
Yeah, there was empty seats upper deck.
The lower bowl was all full, the night before there was nothing there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The whole lower bowl and even the grandstands out in the outfield were packed, but the upper deck was virtually empty.
Unbelievable. The comeback. By the way, how big was that Dallas win?
Oh,
Man.
Well.
Let's save their season. Because they're getting Luka back next game, and they're not going to lose.
not necessarily.
Well, yeah, it won't be 100% Luka.
Well, but also Luka dominates the ball. And, this is what happens when other guys are allowed to play. And Brunson passes the ball and scores 31 points.
Oh, Spencer.
Yeah. Right at Rudy Gobert, too.
Right at the quote-unquote 3-time Defensive Player of the Year winner. Bullshit. Sorry, what? Oh, Donovan.
Yeah. He'll look good at the Garden.
I feel bad for Mitchell.
Don't. He got his max contract.
I mean,
He's fine.
he just wants to win, though.
Yeah, and he can't wait to get out of Utah because nobody wants to play there. It's worse than playing in Boston.
Boy, Brunson's picked a good time to play the best basketball of his life. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. I'm telling you, Mavs Knicks sign and trade. Randall goes to Dallas. Brunson goes to the Knicks.
Randall at all those.
Well, he lives in Dallas. Randall kills the Mavs. And if you look at them, they could use him.
For sure.
They have nothing below the free throw line.
Yeah.
Only thing he'll have to adjust to is he's got to pass the ball.
We're coming back now, but I really can't believe that Porzingis didn't work out with Luka.
I can. He's soft and a perimeter player.
True.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. The starting five in a little more than 15 minutes time. So I'm guessing by now, many of you saw, whether it be on SportsCenter, social media, whatever the case may be, the junior college baseball incident in Texas, in which a guy hits a 2-run homer, and while he's rounding second, he verbally is taunting the pitcher. You can see the umpire in between second and third on the infield pointing at the base runner, warning him, hey, stop it, shut your mouth, that sort of deal. The pitcher charges off the mound 2 steps after he rounds third and just absolutely Mike Singletary's him.
Really good hit. Shoulder was low, head was up.
Right.
Finished through the tack, drove through the body.
Made sure he got the head
on the side, right.
On the shoulder so it wasn't targeting.
Right.
So the pitcher, by the way, has been kicked off the team.
That's good.
Now, it took a day.
Well, we were wondering when we saw it on video, David and I both seen it, but I think SportsCenter showed it and showed the comments from the coach. We're going to handle that. We will handle matters like this, but it never said the kid was kicked off the team. We're like, well, okay, that's all good, but you got to bounce this kid.
Right. Owen Woodward is the pitcher. He was kicked off the team. The conference on top of it suspended him for 4 games. Wait a minute. I was kicked off the team. Well, and you're also suspended. Oh, okay. Is that kind of like you get suspended at school, you come home and your parents go, and you're grounded? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ma. I mean, I can't go to school anyway, and you're not going to leave this house. All right. Got it. Josh Phillips, by the way, was the batter. He hit the ball that, should have a stewardess with it.
He hit it hard.
Yes, he did.
And he was hit hard for it.
Yep. So here's the other part to this story, though. Remember when David Stern was commissioner of the NBA? And he had a rule that he enforced to the letter of the law. If you step off of the bench onto the court, even if your toes cross the sideline and step onto the court, you will be suspended a minimum of 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whoever's running this conference, because when Josh Phillips, the batter, got tackled, he got tackled in front of his dugout.
Correct.
Well, the players in that dugout could see the tackle happening because the pitcher's running towards them. So a split second after he, levels this kid for a 2-yard loss, I mean, the dugout's out onto the field. And a couple of guys pull the pitcher off of their teammate, and, a couple of guys throw some punches. Although, got to admit, it was broken up really quickly.
Yes, it was.
Really quickly. Like they separated the guys and that was it. Well, the conference suspended every player and coach from the team whose player got tackled 2 games. Well, everybody came out of the dugout.
The next 2 games, too. Not just 2 games. You know, I mean, because sometimes they do these suspensions and realize that it's going to affect a team. They're going to be 2 games down the road.
Right.
Or,
U6 this game and this, that, and you're right. And Stern actually did that. The Heat and the Knicks had a brawl in which, you know, a bunch of guys got suspended, and they literally said, well, you guys are suspended for game 6. And if there's a game 7, then you guys will be suspended for game 7. Otherwise it'll carry over into the next round, blah, blah, blah. Right.
But they didn't do that.
No. This was the first of a 4-game series.
And they canceled the rest of that game.
Yeah, both teams had to forfeit the game, which I got to be honest with you. The guy who hit the home run, why did his team have to forfeit? I could see the team whose pitcher tackled him having to forfeit. I mean, why did they have to forfeit that game?
No idea.
But the conference made a double forfeit. Is that like a double technical, by the way, a double forfeit? I mean, is it a 0-0 or do both teams go 0-1?
It's a great question, David. Never had the double forfeit.
Right.
It's much like double secret probation. Until you're on it, you don't know what it is.
But it usually only affects you,
right,
not someone else.
Correct.
So double forfeit for game 1 of the 4-game series. Well, then the team whose guy got tackled, they don't have anybody for the next 2 games.
So they've lost the next 2 games because they had to forfeit.
So
them.
they have to forfeit games 2 and 3 of the series.
So they're now 0-3 or 0-2-1 at best.
At best. At best. And apparently they're finishing the series today, quote unquote, game 4 of the series. So that doesn't seem right to me. The other thing, we could just be semi-serious for a second. It also doesn't take into account sports. Well, you guys are suspended for leaving the dugout. Have you ever played team sports?
First off, here, there's a good chance that a lot of these guys were already out of the dugout, David, when he was rounding before this, because you know what happens when a guy hits a home run? Everybody gets out of the dugout.
Right.
And go to home plate and celebrate with the person who just hit the home run.
Right. And as he's rounding third, they're all going to start to make their way to home plate. And right. So, but the other thing is that when your teammate gets attacked, I mean, there's 98% of teams. I mean, you find out right away whether or not if a team doesn't have good chemistry, because if they don't come out of the dugout, then there's problems. I mean, you want to say to the commissioner, look, I get the letter. By the way, we didn't come out of the dugout and start a melee. We came out of the dugout. We peeled the pitcher who attacked our guy, all right, off of him. And then that was it. Couple of quick, punches down at the bottom of the pile, rolled him over, handed him to his manager who escorted him off the field. And then we went back to the dugout. I mean, this thing lasted 10 seconds.
For as ugly as it could have become.
Oh, my goodness.
Think about the ages of players and the level that they're playing at and all the things
both
involved
teams running in. The other teams their dugout emptied, by the way.
Right.
And bullpens start emptying. You know how that is. Hey, if we're in a fight, then we got to be in it.
Bullpen's got to make the run.
Yeah.
Can't be the last guy to pen.
But you do want to say to the conference commissioner, dude, do you ever play sports? Okay, I mean, if you don't leave the dugout, you might as well quit the team. I mean, trust me, everybody on the team will turn around and look and see Miller and Moulton didn't come out to defend our guy, Josh Phillips, who hit the 2. I mean, Miller and Moulton might as well quit.
Look at, unless Ned Braden's going to start taking his clothes off while he skates around the rink. He's the only one I've ever seen get away with not joining the brawl. and get something good out of it.
Well, and that was the mid-'70s, Mark, when streaking was a thing.
You're darn right.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, slap shot, look it up. No, but seriously, you want to say the conference commissioner? Hey, come on, man.
I can't do anything but make a joke because the only time I can remember a brawl in which someone didn't go in was in a movie and a guy took his clothes off. You don't sit on the bench when this. You can't.
Now, if we all came in and started throwing punches and made it worse, I'm with you. But come on now. This is not right. But that's the follow-up to the JUCO pitching attack.
Everything else will come up in the starting five. That's next on Miller and Moulton.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Perk.
What I will find interesting is the word is he's more like Dooley than Fly from a temperament standpoint. I'll be curious how some of the returnees handle that, especially since a couple of them are nice Christian boys. Oh, okay. You haven't been motherfucked in your whole life. You're about to be. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it.
I can see that he's got that temper.
So that I'll be interested about. Did you see the Cavender twins? Do you know about the Cavender twins?
Who are the Cavender twins?
Cavender twins are a couple of identical twins who played the last 3 years of women's college basketball at Fresno State. But when the NIL thing happened on July 1st, they were at Times Square and they were on all the shows because they have 4 million TikTok followers. And so they made millions last year playing college basketball for Fresno State. They decided to transfer together. And they chose Miami.
Nice.
So their dad apparently played at Nova Southeastern back in the day. And
So were they born and raised in Miami?
I don't think so. But they chose Miami. Now, remember the guy Darren Heitner is based out of Miami, and he's the one that helped set them up with the NIL deals. And so I think Miami was going to be on their radar, at least for a visit between their dad and Heitner and what have you.
I mean, they're very popular, but are they at least good?
Well, they were both, one of them was the Mountain West Player of the Year. They were both all conference. The one was all conference all 3 years. The other was all conference 2 of the 3 years. They both have scored over 1,000 points.
One more time, their last names.
Cavender, Cavinder.
Cavender. Gotcha. Let's do some research.
Haley and Hannah.
Wow. They're gorgeous.
Yes. That's why they have 4 million TikTok followers.
Correct.
Not because they're ugly.
Took advantage of the pandemic
Right.
to attract a little bit of attention to themselves.
There you go.
Walking around occasionally scantily clad.
Go Canes. They have a good program in Miami.
They do. They don't have a great program, though, but they have a
Good. Decent.
bordering on very good. They make the tournament.
And then lose.
I think they've only made the second week of the tournament once. But
Right. UM got crushed this year.
Well,
by
they won
South
their
Carolina.
first game, but yeah.
Oh, it was NC State, right?
I don't know who whacked them in the second round,
I thought it was NC State.
but I think they were an 8-9 winner.
Yeah, they
so
played a one.
one.
I thought they played NC State and got just whooped.
It was Carolina, no? I thought they lost to South Carolina.
Oh, you're right. It was South Carolina.
All right, we're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan in a little more than an hour to talk all things NFL. We'll head to Green Bay in 2 hours. The Packers, one of the 8 teams with 2 first-round picks, 22 and 28. What will they do? What will they do? We'll talk to MK Burgess about that. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Still stuck at $29.99. Miguel Cabrera went 0 for 3 with an intentional walk in the Tigers' 3-0 win over the Yankees. So the intentional walk comes with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Tigers up 1-0. Mark, were you watching?
Yes, I was.
All right. So there's bases loaded, nobody out. Bottom of the 8th inning. The guy batting before Cabrera hits into a 1-2-3 double play. So it's still 1-0. Runners on second and third, 2 out. Lefty pitcher. Cabrera bats right-handed. Left-hand hitter on deck. Miggy's sitting at $29.99.
Boone made the right move. You have to put him on first base. It sucked. As a Tiger fan watching it, thinking maybe he could get a hit and drive in a couple of runs. But That was the right play.
I agree. He's got to do it. He's the manager of the Yankees. His obligation as manager of the Yankees is to do what? Do everything possible to give his team the best chance to win. Setting up the force at any base. And oh, by the way, having the lefty face the lefty was the percentage play. Now, it didn't work out. Lowe with a, kind of
A little bit of a cheapie.
off the end of the bat, found a hole, 2-run score. And Cabrera tried to tell everybody, hey, I contributed to the win. They walked me. It worked out. We won. And Miggy, throughout this whole thing, Mark, has constantly been trying to deflect the attention and go, we need to win. It's important for us to win. I don't care if I get 1 hit, no hit, 3 hit. We need to win. So Miggy, after the game, was happy.
Right.
It's like, I'll do this every day if we're going to win games. Tiger fans, though.
Well, and it's the Yankees. I mean, everybody doesn't hate Raymond. Everybody does hate the Yankees, David. And I realize that my son's in town, and it's fun getting around someone who still has that sports enthusiasm as a young man, and he's a Tiger fan, and he just at one point about the 4th inning, he goes, and I don't like the Yankees.
There you
and
go.
I'm like, good for you. Good, hate's
Right.
good in sports.
Right. And so Tiger fans, and we wondered what the attendance would be. Is it still called Comerica?
It is.
The whole bottom, part of the stadium was sold out.
Right.
From foul line to foul line, and even the bleachers. Now, the upper deck was almost completely empty, but they sold the whole bottom half of the
stadium. It was
stadium.
Thursday at 1:15.
Right. And
School's still in session.
I'm sure it was a huge walk-up.
Oh, yeah. And now they play a 3-game set on the weekend against Colorado. They'll have great crowds. Miggy should get his hit. Everybody will be happy.
Now, I will say this. It was just last week, Kershaw's got the perfect game through 7, and we were all over Dave Roberts for taking Kershaw out. Yet you and I are saying Boone did the right thing.
Roberts manages the Dodgers. Kershaw plays for the Dodgers. See, Boone manages the Yankees. Cabrera plays for the Tigers. This is all really simple to me.
Well, there's another thing also, is that a perfect game, the odds are Kershaw's never going to be in that situation again because he had never pitched 7 perfect innings before. So what are the odds that he'll do it again? And that's what Roberts got in the way of. Well, Cabrera's going to show up tonight with $29.99.
Correct.
And to me, the overlying caveat, which would have made it a difficult thing for Boone, if yesterday was getaway day and the Tigers were going to Colorado and he took away the potential final chance for Cabrera to get 3,000 at home, I actually think it's something to discuss. Like, you're a Tigers fan. I think you'll remember this. Reggie Jackson had announced, I believe it was 87, that it was going to be his final year. He came back for one more year with the A's. He wanted to end it where it began. And so Reggie comes through Detroit, I think in September. And it's his last game of a series, and Reggie's in the lineup. And the Tigers have a lefty reliever on the mound, and Reggie comes to the plate in like the 8th inning. And Sparky Anderson comes out of the dugout and takes the lefty out and brings in a righty. Well, that's not the percentage play.
Right.
And after the game, he was asked, why'd you do this? And Sparky Anderson said, Reggie Jackson is an historic figure. He hit a historic home run in this stadium. I was not going to have Reggie's last at-bat in this stadium be against a lefty. Now, I think the Tigers were comfortably in front, and so he could do that. But that, to me, would have been the only interesting thing about it. If tonight...
If the game was in Colorado, then there's some there
right.
to boo and complain.
And if you're Boone, you got to answer to Cashman and Steinbrenner if by chance Cabrera gets the hit, and you go, I don't know, guys. Come on. Are some things bigger than... And they may go, no.
Right.
But with them playing in Detroit tonight, I think it's a no-brainer. And by the way, if you're a fan and you're unhappy, buy tickets for tonight.
Bingo.
Marlins, by the way, shut out the Cardinals 5-0. to get one of the three. Cleveland swept the 3-gamer from the White Sox 6-3. They're in first place. Mets took 3 or 4 from the Giants. They're 10-4 on the season. They won 6-2. Pirates rally. Daniel Vogelbach, a 2-run homer. He's going to become a cult thing in Pittsburgh. You mark my words. Big fat guy, leadoff hitter, going to hit home runs. Yeah. They're not going to have much to cheer about.
They're going to have nothing to cheer about.
Pirates beat the Cubs 4-3.
Wow, good for them.
All right.
I think that's 3.
Guess the attendance.
A's
In Oakland. Final game of the series against the Orioles. Orioles looking to win back-to-back games for the first time since the first week of September last season.
They went in the 4s for game 1. They went in the 3s for game 2. I'm going to keep.
No. They went in the 3s for game 1 and the 2s for game 2. 2,700 for game 2.
I've got to go 2682.
Higher?
2865.
Much higher, guys. It was the biggest attendance of the series.
Oh, my.
44-29.
And we thank you.
So I think if you add it up, they did 11,000 for the 3-game series. I give credit. I forget the player's name. He was asked beforehand about basically the fans, and the question was worded in a way in which it was like, hey, boy, guess we don't have many fans. And he said, no. We have great fans. We have a great fan base. He said, this is an organized protest against our owner because he continues to not invest into this team. And they realize that. And so they've decided if he's going to treat this club this way, then we're not coming. And the player basically said, and I'm with the fans. So there.
That's cool.
So he'll be traded. Twins 1-0 over the Royals. Kansas City held to 3 hits. Toronto took 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. They won 3-2. Arizona, our buddy Mark Melanson came on in the 9th, bases loaded, 2 outs, and got Juan Soto out for the save. 4-3 Arizona over Washington. And Texas snapped a 5-game skid, 8-6 over Seattle. Joey Cora has COVID, by the way, the Red Sox manager, not coming to the Trop this weekend as the Sox and Rays begin a 3-game series. In our Twitch chat room, we were asked by a listener, over under 18,000 tonight for Red Sox Rays at the Trop.
Under.
I'll go over. Close. NFL draft is in less than a week. However, the NFL did come out and say the schedule will be released in 20 days. Thursday, May 12th is when the schedule's released, although bits and pieces and drabs will come out between now and then. Mark, a change to the Hall of Fame. They will now allow 3 senior enshrinees for each of the next 3 years. They feel there's a backlog of senior candidates. Senior candidates are players whose careers ended more than 25 years ago. 12 guys can be nominated for those 3 spots. In the past,
I like it. Not so much for even this year or next year, but down the road, they're going to need this. They really are, David.
Darryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, died yesterday morning at the age of 80. He won the AFL MVP twice. He took the Raiders to 3 straight AFL title games and also led them to Super Bowl II. Memphis rallied from, 26 down and 16 down after 3 quarters and beat Minnesota 104-95 to take a 2-1 series lead. Dallas got 31 from Jalen Brunson. Luka didn't play. They beat Utah anyway, 126-118 to lead that series 2-1. And Jokic scored 37, but it didn't matter. Warriors rally in the 4th and won at 118-113. They're up 3 spit on the Nuggets. Chris Middleton's going to miss the rest of the series for the Bucks against the Bulls. He's out 2 weeks. And Devin Booker's out 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring strain, so he's going to miss the rest of the series against New Orleans. And we'll see if Luka comes back for Game 4. NHL. It was 1-0 mid-second, and all of a sudden the Lightning said, yeah, we'll take it from here. Scored 4 in the second, 4 in the third, beat Toronto 8-1. Stamkos a goal and 2 helpers. He's now the all-time leading scorer in Lightning history.
Yeah, tied St. Louis the game before and passed him last night.
And the Lightning now 3 points ahead of Boston for 3rd place in the division. Boston lost to Pittsburgh 4-0 because Casey DeSmith made 52 saves for the Penguins and Getzel with a hat trick. Panthers, by the way, have won 12 in a row, and they clinched the division, and they clinched the number 1 seed, and they're 2 points ahead of the Avs for the President's Trophy. They beat Detroit 5-2. Rangers are tied with Carolina with 4 to play. For first place, they doubled up the Islanders 6-3, while Carolina doubled up Winnipeg 4-2. Winnipeg's eliminated from the playoffs. Minnesota doubled up Vancouver 6-3. They're tied for second in the division with St. Louis, who beat San Jose 2-1, but the Wild have a game in hand. Vancouver's 4 points out of the final playoff spot, which is held by Dallas, who lost to Calgary last night 4-2. Flames clinch the division. Stars are 2 points ahead of Vegas, Mark, with 4 to play. Kings are in third comfortably now with a 4-1 win over Chicago. Buffalo and Philly also victorious. Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Mark, your leaders at the Zurich Classic. They went 13 under in 4-ball. They shot a 59, and yet they lead by just 1. Remember we mentioned Garrigus there?
Right.
Who was teaming up with Tommy Two Gloves?
Two Gloves, who...
Yeah, they shot 11 under yesterday. He's on the leaderboard.
Well, you don't have the type of restrictions in New Orleans that you have in Orlando for Two Gloves there. You can get whatever he needs.
LA Open on the women's tour. Allison Lee at 5 under has a 1-shot lead over 3 golfers. A couple of Zags have decided they're declaring for the NBA draft. The 7-footer Chet Holmgren, who some say may go first overall, and also former Gator Andrew Nembhard declared for the draft. The Cavender twins. Are you one of their 4 million TikTok followers? Haley and Hannah, identical 5'6" twins who played their last 3 years at Fresno State. Well, they're taking their TikTok followers to Miami to play for the Canes. They make a few million a year in NIL deals. That was before they went to Miami, who was doing pretty well at setting up really lucrative NIL deals on their own. So, and that, gentlemen,
That was the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I wonder if it'll increase attendance, in all honesty. Canes only average about 1,500 a game.
Probably a little, probably a small tick.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if the Felipes of the world. I mean, you know.
They're beautiful young ladies, and
Right.
they're very popular, but it's still going to women's basketball
I
games
understand.
when they can see the highlights on Instagram.
I understand that. They're both all conference players in the Mountain West. They both have over 1,000 points, and apparently they can really shoot the 3. We'll see. They make an impact. We'll see if they can play. I mean, now they're going to the ACC, and Miami's a consistent tournament team. I mean, it's a step up.
A big step up.
Miller and Moulton.
I mean, what, NC State was a 1 seed out of that conference last year. This is high-level women's college basketball.
1 hour down, 3 to go. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Poll question. We need a lot of things. We need a lot. We got a lot of losses. I mean, I've got Mike Tyson hitting someone on a plane.
This is a short segment.
Yeah. Why are the villages trending in Florida? Oh, the Disney thing. Were you aware? It's a local thing, but Ron Hoover,
Coach?
he passed.
Oh, North Fort Myers, right?
Yeah,
I think he was Dion's coach.
yeah, he was.
I think you mean Coach Dion.
No, actually, we don't.
I know. Did you see that? How he gets like super pissed off at reporters that call him Dion. It's Coach Prime.
Yeah,
Coach Prime.
But we're referencing his high school coach. So when he played for him, he was Dion. He wasn't even prime yet.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Happy Friday. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Pat Kirwan 1 hour from now. MK Burgess hour and a half from now. We told you that we were going to make sure that we talk to somebody who covers all 8 teams that have multiple first-round picks in next Thursday night's NFL draft. And don't forget, we're having an NFL draft extravaganza on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Live broadcast, damn near 5 hours. We'll start about a half hour before the draft. We'll be eating, we'll be drinking. Heck, we may come to a backyard near you. What's our offer right now?
Like $1.50.
And food, drink,
Food,
and gas.
drink, and gas.
All right. We're splitting the $1.50 though, right?
God, I hope not.
I think we are. I think that's a total. I think that's the best offer we have.
Looks like it'll be happening from our respective homes.
Come on. You said you wanted to take this show on the road.
Not for $75.
We've worked for less.
I'm aware.
Besides the cost of food and drink and gas these days, I mean, Mark, we might have to declare like $116 on our taxes for this gig.
This has been quite a ride, David, quite a ride. But make sure you join us next Thursday night. It'll be a Twitch only, no Facebook, no YouTube, a Twitch only broadcast
right
of the draft.
So you got to follow us, got to subscribe to us, at least follow us. I mean, Mark will be distraught. We don't pick up 80, 100 additional followers for.
I don't think we're picking up that many. If we pick up 20, I'd do cartwheels.
Wow. Well, then
I think I've lost the bet.
Oh, I definitely think then you've lost the bet. I figured you needed to be nearly 900 coming out of the draft.
I'm with you.
And we're at around 800 now.
I'm with you. We need to add about 10 affiliates if this is going to happen.
Well, we got one coming next month. And I'm working on the rest.
Perfect.
FSN Radio, if you've never texted the show, text FSN Radio to 21,000. If you have texted the show before, well, chime in. I do want to go here, if we can talk a little NFL for a bit.
Okay.
Are we sure Aiden Hutchinson is...
No.
And the reason I say that is, don't get me wrong, he had a really good year. He looks as if he's a good player. He's got some explosiveness. I don't know how many moves he has, but, whatever. I mean, Watt, JJ was the 11th pick, TJ. I mean, who knows what a guy's going to be. But I'm just thinking about the Georgia game, the semifinal. He didn't do much.
Not a damn thing.
And, I know Ohio State, Georgia, he did stuff against Ohio State, and they did play with the lead against Ohio State where they played from behind against Georgia and 2 different teams. I get all that, but that would be my concern is if I'm looking at the Georgia tape going, well, this is what you're going to face on Sundays, dude. You're going to face tackles that are this good or better.
Every play for the rest of your career.
And so, first overall pick of the draft. And Detroit at number 2 really wants him
Badly.
And not just because of the Michigan thing.
But part because of the Michigan thing, part because it fits to them.
Yes. I mean, they've said that as an organization. He his intensity, the way he plays, that fits what we're
But
trying to be all about.
Don't discount the Michigan thing to the Lions. I lived there, man. I'm telling you, that's a big deal. It's a big part of it. It's a crossover fan base. It just is.
And so, we've got a couple of Jags fans who text the show regularly or in our Twitch chat room regularly. I mean, if Detroit's, they got what, 32 and 34? I mean, do you think you could squeeze 34? I mean, if you guys really want Hutchinson, I mean, you want to switch?
Look, I wouldn't do it in a million years.
Wouldn't do it if you were who?
Detroit.
Okay. Just asking.
I don't think he's worth going up for. If he's there, take him. If not, you can take Thibodeau. You can take a tackle for that matter. There's a lot of needs. They're picking second, right?
For a reason.
Yeah, you don't give up picks when you're picking second. You just don't. Not for a D end.
Well, it depends on, I mean, if you're drafting, if you think he's a 12 sack a year guy, as opposed to everybody else just being a good, solid player. I mean, if you think he's Myles Garrett.
I don't.
Okay. Well, but I'm just saying, if you're Detroit.
I don't know if he was the best pass rusher on his own team last year.
Okay. That will be interesting where Ojabu goes, by the way, because he's probably not playing this year. So if you're drafting him, that's a stash pick. And so is somebody going to spend their first rounder on him? Because he was a high first round pick, probably in the top 10, certainly in the top 15 before the individual workout where he blew out his Achilles. And then you have to wonder, does he come back as the same player? So that'll be interesting. I'll bet you he goes early second. Wouldn't shock me, by the way, if the Lions took him.
Well, if you don't get Hutchinson, and I wouldn't take Hutchinson at 1. If they take him at 2, fine. But you could get him at 34.
And for those saying that Hutchinson was decent against Georgia, yeah, he was decent. But he wasn't any better than that. This is the first overall pick of the draft we're talking here.
I just don't see a Bosa or a Watt. I don't see that. I don't see Myles Garrett. I see good, above average, nice player.
8 to 10 sacks.
Yeah.
Not 12 to 14.
Not all pro.
Okay. Now, is this just one of those drafts where, unfortunately, if you're Jacksonville and Detroit, hey, it's the wrong draft to have the first and second overall picks. I don't know what to tell you. You're only going to get a very good player, not going to get a great one.
And
it happens. I mean, Pat Kirwan was stuck with the first overall pick in a draft with no quarterbacks. He took Keyshawn. Now, Keyshawn, a really good player. Helped the Bucs win a Super Bowl. Throw me the damn ball. I mean, he's a good player. Not a Hall of Famer.
Who would you take if you were Jacksonville?
Well, I would trade down with the Lions.
That's not an option.
I'm just saying.
Okay, but that's not an option. For whatever reason, I'm the Lions GM, you're the Jags GM. I can't give you what you want. I'm not giving you 34. I'm saying take your pick. Do what you got to do. I'll play the game of chicken. I dare you. Go ahead. Take Hutchinson if that's who you're taking.
Yeah. I would take a tackle. And I listen, they have no pass rush outside of Josh Allen. But I would take an offensive tackle because I'm all in on Trevor Lawrence. And I got a Cam Robinson issue in which I don't know if this is my last year with Cam Robinson. And if it's not, great, then I have another tackle. And I'm set at tackle for the rest of the decade, basically, and that's awesome. So I would go offensive tackle, whichever one that I think's the best.
And because I think that's what Jacksonville's doing, that's another reason. Again, you want to take Thibodeau, you want to take Hutchinson, knock yourself out. But I can't give up resources to move one spot for a defensive end.
All right. But if I was Jacksonville, I would get whatever I could. Like, put it this way. I would even settle for Detroit's third-round pick if I was Jacksonville, and I'd move one down. Let them take Hutchinson, and I'll take the tackle. Because deep down, I'm going to have to be talked into taking Hutchinson because my gut is to be all in on Trevor Lawrence.
And I think you can, in Jacksonville, easily walk to the podium and say, we've drafted 2 tackles. We've got our quarterback. We feel as if we're set.
We spent a lot of money at the wide receiver position.
Right.
We got Etienne, who we didn't get anything out of last year because he was hurt. Never mind the fact that they've got other picks in this draft. Good picks.
But you can walk to the podium with that story.
You can. It's tough to go wrong drafting a bookend tackle. I also think there's less risk. So that's what I would do if I was Jacksonville.
What do you think about the draft, whether this team or any other? Text us. The keyword's FSN Radio. You text that to 21,000. You're inside the gate, and you're inside forever at that point.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe all of the GMs who a week out from the draft are saying we're not trading blank? Arizona, no way in the world they're trading Kyler Murray. Tennessee, not trading their wide receiver.
I love Tennessee. It's not feasible that we're trading. Maybe if the offer's good enough, we'll trade him.
Now, I'll say this. If I'm the Jets, once again, if you're linking them to Debo, well, why not link them to, Brown there with the Titans?
Absolutely.
I'll say it again. If I'm the Jets, I'm not spending resources on these 2 wide receivers. I'm going to draft Jamison Williams 10th. I'm going to draft the corner from Cincinnati, Gardner, at 4, and I'm going to draft Jamison Williams, the wide receiver from Alabama, 10. And I'll see you early second round when I've got 2 high picks, 35, 38?
Yes.
Something like that. So, yeah. See you tomorrow. That's what I'm doing if I'm the Jets.
Well, we set the over-under number of teams trading back into the first round at 1.5, which I thought was a great number. Pat doesn't think there'll be a lot of trades, although he never does, to Pat's credit. Pat does not jump into the Miller and Moulton pool if we would trade anything, anytime, anywhere. But it will be fascinating with all these teams with multiple picks in the first round, just how much action there is in round 1 of the draft on Thursday night.
I'm going to throw this out there that, the first 2 quarterbacks are likely to be Willis and Pickett in some order. But Ritter from Cincinnati, I don't think gets past Tennessee at 26. They're stuck with Tannehill this year for many reasons, the biggest of which is cap. But they can move on after this year if they have to. And I think Tennessee is going to start thinking about life in the pursuit of happiness after Ryan Tannehill.
Ooh.
And I think Ritter at Cincinnati would go to them at 26. So to me, if you're Detroit at 32, hoping he falls to them, or you're one of those teams with one of the first 5 picks in the second round, I think you got to be thinking getting ahead of Tennessee. Let's just say the Steelers are going to take Pickett or Willis at 20. That to me, you got to get 21 through 25 if you want Ritter.
I'm with you on Pittsburgh. Tennessee's interesting because I still think they feel a Super Bowl is within reach. And at that draft pick, they're going to try to help their team. It will be fascinating. Thursday night, the Miller and Moulton Twitch party for the NFL Draft.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did they?
You get those games where there's just a lot of shots and they're not.
Okay. Well, with Jari injured, this kid may have to be the guy. We'll see if he's Matt Murray reincarnated here. Because if they get goaltending, they're going to be a tough out.
The whole East is a tough out.
I understand. I really do.
I mean,
it's funny. There are teams that I don't think can win 3 series,
but can win a series.
I think all 8 can win.
All 8 can win a series.
Totally. Like, I don't think Pittsburgh can win 3 series. I don't think Washington can win 3 series.
I don't think the Rangers can win the Cup.
And I think the Rangers can win 3 series because it's just Shesterkin. I don't think Boston can win 3 series. I don't either. But I think Boston could win 1 or 2. Things like that. God, Carolina's a fascinating team.
They're soft as baby poop.
I
just don't know how much that matters anymore, David.
They're relentless, though. They're a great skating relentless.
Right. I mean, I don't know how tough you have to be.
I
if
know.
You know what I mean. Can't be. I just think they're a little soft. I can see Carolina losing in the first round, and I can see them winning the Stanley Cup. By the way, my kid made a great because I've been figured this commercial here. I cannot figure out this commercial. Okay, this Dell commercial where we all moved to the middle of the road. We're watching TV yesterday. It comes on. Jake looks at me. He goes, "Why the fuck would I want to buy a Dell? You know what I hate more than just about anything? Traffic. All this looks like it does to me is create more traffic." I'm like, you're onto something because I've been trying to figure this commercial out from day one. Maybe I'm just not that smart.
Paul, I meant stuck with in terms of for those that, want them to move on. They can't move on from Tannehill this year. So it's not like you could draft a quarterback and move on from Tannehill. From a cap standpoint, it would be devastating. Thank you, Benny. You too. No, there will be less penalties in the NHL playoffs. There's always less penalties in the playoffs. It's why I think you have to judge teams. It's why I think the Rangers could have a problem because they're not a great 5-on-5 team. Although they're a lot better since the deadline acquisitions.
Nick Plummer from the New York Metropolitans made his first career plate appearance over the song or the Super Mario Bros. Theme song, and the crowd loved it.
God, that's fun. Did you see what Dana White did?
Mm-mm.
So the video breaks of Tyson, punching this guy in the plane. Dana White puts out a video. He must have flown with him somewhere. He's sitting, private plane up front. Tyson, I can't hear it, but Tyson comes, "You're in my seat." Dana White jumps up, gets up, moves to the next seat, and Tyson sits down. So he says, "Hey, dummies, for future reference, this is how you stay alive when bumping into Mike Tyson on an airplane."
You couldn't pay me to fight Mike Tyson.
Well, apparently the guy was
harassing him like this. The Tyson wasn't
verbally.
Yeah.
He threw a water bottle at Tyson.
Idiot.
I mean, the guy decided. He got on the flight and says, I'm going to see if I can provoke Mike Tyson. I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that this guy said, I'm going to see if I can get this guy to hit me. Well, he did.
What an asshole.
Yeah. What an idiot.
What an asshole.
Plus, the other thing is there's not a lot of people that are going to come to your defense because this ain't just some
Because it's
guy.
Mike Tyson.
Right, this ain't just some guy at the bar. It's like, wait, you want me to break up a fight involving Mike Tyson?
You're on your own on that one, pal.
DC, it's the playoffs. Come on, it happens every year. And besides, the product hasn't been this free flow.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kirwan in 40 minutes time to talk many things NFL. We'll head to Green Bay before our 8 o'clock hour is up because the Packers with 2 first-round picks. What do we think they're going to do with them at 22 and 28? Got to take a wide receiver, right? Come on now.
Quarterback, fullback.
They tried that already. It cost them about $50 million a year to re-sign their quarterback. That's the draft that keeps on costing them.
So I think I have something that kind of leads us to a poll question.
All right.
And I have part of what the poll question is. I don't have the complete poll question, so I will need your help. I'm guessing by now you caught the story of Mike Tyson flying to Miami yesterday and having a little incident on the airplane.
Well, yeah, some guy was harassing him.
Guys basically verbally abused Tyson the whole flight, threw a water bottle at him. Tyson finally had enough and roughed the guy up a little bit.
Well, you know, it's one thing, the verbal stuff. Not saying that you have to take it, but when you're a public figure, sometimes that stuff happens. You would like to think that a flight attendant would get involved at some point, but you throw something at someone, I don't think you have to be expected to take that.
I don't either, but it got me thinking between the JUCO pitcher tackling the home run hitter,
right,
and Mike Tyson popping someone on the plane. I'm just trying to think, get sacked by Von Miller, get punched by Mike Tyson. What would be the easier take?
Oh, sacked, because my body's going to take that. Okay, I'm not going to get punched. I'm likely not going to get a helmet or a shoulder pad to the jaw, to the face. I'm likely not to be unconscious getting hit by Von Miller. Now, I may need a minute to get my lungs out of the turf and start breathing again, but I think I'm going to get up in a minute's time at least and walk away and be breathing.
All right, I'll take the sack out of it. The punch from Tyson, sticking your arm in the tiger cage, or being within 10 feet of that snake Mangino posted yesterday on Twitter.
Punch from Tyson. All day. All day. I mean, first off, obviously, sticking anything in the tiger cage is, the most ridiculous. But, man, being within 10 feet of that snake that
it looked like a big rattler
Mark Mangino found walking his dog at 5 in the morning yesterday.
Like Mangino wanted to put the leash on the snake and take it around the neighborhood for crying out loud.
Man, oh man. I don't jog, and I would have been a jogger if I saw that guy. Damn. No.
You'd have been Walter Payton. Your knees would have been so high on that one.
Got that right. I would have been Dion on a punt return. Would have had my hand behind my head, would have been high stepping in the end zone if I saw that snake. But no, I'd look right at if given those three options.
Look right at Mike and say, hit me, big man.
Yeah, I'd stick my chin out at Tyson. I'd be daring him. I'd be like Sugar Ray Leonard to Duran in the second fight, be sticking my mug out there going, come on, hit me. Hit me.
So we'll see if that has staying power. We may have to come up with something else. But I can't imagine, and I know people are going to listen going, really, you can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine being on a flight and saying, I have Mike Tyson in front of me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to harass him to the point where he comes unglued.
I do a lot of flying, I don't see any of this stuff. I got to be honest. In the last 5 years, with all the flying that I've done, between the golf and the football and 2 different networks and all that, I'm on 120 flights a year.
Right.
I've seen none of this stuff that is routinely caught on videotape.
And I've not seen anything to this level, but even and I've not flown at all in the last few years. I've even seen a little bit where, not to the level of this, but I've seen the kicking the seat and the back and forth where it's like, oh boy, this is 30 seconds from maybe being squirrely here.
I'm thinking back now in the last 5 years. I remember one time where a couple of us had to get up and walk over and talk to someone and go, hey, come on. Are you really going to play this out? We're in 10 minutes. You're getting dragged out of here by 4 people. You sure we can't resolve this? Because we all want to have a nice flight. That's it. And yeah, I can't imagine being on a flight and having an unruly passenger like that. That's not, I will take it back. There was a guy last year, come to think of it, and we each had our own half row, and I was on the opposite side of him. So he was on the left side of the plane with 3 seats to himself, and I was on the right side, same row with 3 seats. And he was acting like an absolute horse's blank. Okay. And the guy behind me, and we kind of said, you want to, and we both got up and walked over to him and said, so how's this going to go? Because we're not tolerating this. We got 2.5 more hours of this, and we're not tolerating it. So how's it going to go?
Ooh, look at you getting the duct tape.
Oh, no,
out.
I do not play around on a flight at all. No.
Yeah, I don't play around either. I sit in my seat and try not to speak.
No. But this guy's, we were 10 minutes away from it being recorded on 12 phones.
Yeah, and I think I'd have just been the guy with my phone going, here we go.
I called the flight attendant over and I go, we going to do anything about this? And she kind of looked at me like, what do you want me to do? And that's when me and the guy behind me said, well, okay, I guess we got to take care of this. That's it. It's the only time, 5 years. I've been on 500 flights.
Right? No. You fly now more than anybody else that I know.
But could you imagine?
No, I couldn't imagine trying to provoke Mike Tyson on a flight. I couldn't imagine trying to provoke you on a flight. That's not true. I could imagine.
Well, sure,
you on
it'd
a
be
flight.
fun, right? It'd be fun
because I'd get someone else to do it for me, and then I'd be filming it.
And I don't drink on airplanes either. Even when a couple times I get upgraded and the drinks are free, I don't drink when I fly. I try to sleep. I can sleep. I'm usually asleep before takeoff.
I was going to say the odds of you seeing an incident are pretty slim because you're usually out before any incident would start.
It was the second flight so I slept on the first one and what have you. Now, don't get me wrong. I was within a half an hour of sleeping on that one, too.
And you had a whole row.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Right. Yeah.
That's backpack on the sidewall, and you're out in a matter of seconds.
Totally. You got the seat.
Where are you going to go?
Right. Exactly, Rich. Okay. You got the seat belts around the thighs. Okay. The seat belt around the waist. You're deciding whether or not you want to lay down or you want to prop yourself up. Right.
But I just saw that Tyson. I'm like, let's see. What could we add to this to get things to that level?
Did you see, by the way, the woman who had to be
duct taped.
Right. She got the biggest fine apparently in like FAA history. It was like $80,000 she got fined for her behavior on that flight.
You know, you and I are old enough to remember, and I don't know how much you flew when you were little, but I was lucky enough to be on flights as a kid. You know, people used to get dressed up to go fly a plane.
Yes. Yes.
It was actually a bit of an event.
That's 100% true because I always used to give my dad crap about that.
Yeah, you got a little dressed up. It was like
people used to get dressed
like
up.
going to church. You
Yeah.
wore nice clothes.
Now I wear sweats.
Right. Well, and look, no one's going to complain about yoga pants on a plane
I mean, it's not the most comfortable setting.
unless Felipe's wearing them. In
Right.
which case, then we might have a problem.
Right. Well, especially since there's usually elbow pads and leg warmers that go with them. Thank you, Jimmy Butler. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in a half an hour here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
A lot of wolfing in that game. A lot of wolfing in that Grizzlies T-Wolves game. And when you give it, you got to take it. I know they won't even let football coaches get dressed up anymore. I mean, literally, the NFL will not allow you to wear anything other than official NFL gear. I'd get fined.
Same thing for the NBA.
Didn't used to be that way until the pandemic.
I
though.
know. And I've been advocating they bring back the suits, man. I need that signature Spoelstra pose.
See, it's funny. All right, Mark, where are you on this? Because I'm fine with them the coaches not wearing suits.
In what, basketball?
Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Oh, I like them better in suits. I don't care.
Well, I like them better in suits, but
Yeah, but I don't care.
right. I'm fine with them. But like what always, and we talk about this all the time because we're both into golf, is, the whole shirt and a tie
Why,
in a
why
golf
are you
booth,
not?
I
Why are you
think,
not wearing this in a golf shirt?
yeah, to me, you should dress like a golfer. You should just have the NBC Sports golf shirt on or what have you.
Did the pandemic have the same effect in NHL coaches? They
no.
still wear suits?
Yes.
See, there you go.
Didn't look good.
Yeah. I don't know. Because if I'm not mistaken, basketball and hockey were the only two sports that really did that. Or
Well, like, I think it's ridiculous though the baseball
Football as
managers
well.
are in a baseball uniform.
I know
Like,
you've
I
said
think
that before.
no. I think they should be in like khakis and official team gear from the top up.
Well, what a lot of them
And they could wear even an official team jersey if you want them in that. But I think it's absurd that they're wearing the baseball pants.
Don't they have a number? Don't the managers have a number?
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
That's fantastic if you really think about it.
I mean, I know you'd hate it, but it's pretty awesome. And if I'm a manager, and plus baseball pants aren't that uncomfortable. Even the baseball pants.
No. It's not the uncomfortable part. It looks ridiculous. You got 65-year-old men wearing. I mean,
Pinstripes.
yeah. I mean, come on.
But if I'm the manager of the Mets, I'm going obviously pants, and then I'm wearing like a sweater.
Yeah,
Like a
no,
team
you wear
sweater,
whatever team thing
then the
you
hat.
want to wear.
Baseball managers should dress like NFL head coaches.
Yes, I think it's ridiculous that they don't.
But they do,
They
except the
do.
pants are different.
Right.
Well, but that's a big difference. And they wear the stirrups.
No.
Yes.
No. Who wears the stirrups? What manager wears stirrups? Who? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I think Showalter. I could have sworn the games I watched yesterday.
He was wearing stirrups.
Now they pull their
They pull their pants
pull
down
their
low, but they're
pants
still
down,
wearing
but-
the stirrups.
yeah.
Oh, now that's ridiculous. See that I agree with.
I liked Francona. He just would wear the pants and
Well, he's got a medical condition and that's why he's been given like an exemption. He's allowed to wear the jacket, and that's been a multi-year thing, and it's why he doesn't dress exactly the way the other managers dress.
I will say though, like, is there anything dumber to the American sports fan than watching a European soccer game when the guys that aren't playing wear the vests?
Right.
Like that.
Right.
I know you're not in the game, jackass. I mean, you're not out there playing. Why are you wearing
Highlighter.
the blue mesh vest? I don't get it.
It's like they're waiting for their ski lift.
Right.
You know, it's like,
Here we go.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"28 minutes before the hour." Thanks for being with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. So you were on your way to formulating a poll question.
I was.
Wow. Seem to have lost your enthusiasm for it.
You know, the problem with some of these poll questions is that when you start getting on Twitter long answers, they don't fit within the amount of characters. And then you're trying to figure out how you get all this stuff in so that someone who could be reading it for the first time actually understands what the hell we're talking about.
Got it.
And the more I typed, the more it just didn't look that good.
Okay. Was it something having to do with Tyson and
It was.
getting attacked on the plane and then doing the attacking?
Yes. It was. And it just didn't.
Do you want to ask if you think Tyson was justified at going after the passenger?
I think we'll have 89% of our audience minimum say yes. And I'm not opposed to the question.
Or was it going to be something along the lines of, the question you threw at me?
It was along those lines, and it just did not.
It's too long.
It's too long.
Gotcha. Snake.
Right.
Okay. Arm in a tiger's
Yes.
cage. Mike Tyson. I liked your Von Miller, Mike Tyson one. If you just want to make it two choices, would you rather be sacked at full speed by an NFL, defensive end.
Yeah, open ice hit in a hockey game.
Right. Speaking of open, did you see in the running of the Bulls?
No.
All right. Oh my goodness.
Block or charge.
Oh, he took a charge. Holy mackerel. He spins away from the one Bull and turns around. And right as he turns around, he gets the Bull right in the middle of the chest. Not the horns, just the head. Boom! Funniest tweet I saw was a guy saying, now that's Carson Wentz pocket awareness right there. But, oh, man, I don't know if this was Spain and the running of the Bulls, but I don't know where else they do it. But, man, this guy got tattooed by the Bull. Tattooed. Not targeting either. Right in the middle of the chest.
Good clean.
Very clean. And guy was in the field to play. Bull was in the right. Bull did not leave the field to play. That guy was somewhere he didn't belong.
Never at any time in my life did I think that would be fun to do. Now, sitting in one of those balconies watching other people get trampled by the Bulls has always looked like fun to me.
So you never thought, you know what, I'll just hang out on the side here. Okay, and I get to say that I did it. Okay,
because you got to do it.
No, you don't.
If you're gonna go to Palermo, Spain, and run with the Bulls,
Pamplona, I think.
Okay, whatever.
Right. You're gonna
Spain.
go run with correct. It's kind of like being in the cage with the tiger. If you're in the cage, that's close enough. Right.
So I'm going to go all the way to Spain. I'm going to put on this little white outfit.
Who says you got to put on an outfit?
You got to put on the outfit.
Thank you.
You have to put on the outfit. They will spit on you.
What do you mean they will spit on you?
If you're going to do it, you're going to wear the outfit.
I got to put on the outfit?
Yes.
All right. Fine. I'll put on the outfit.
And then you're just going to chicken blanket and sit on the side? No. You got to
hold
on. Bulls on the head.
Hold on.
Get if you're going to do it.
Hold on a second. Chicken blanket. I'm in the field of play.
You're on the sideline.
So what? I'm up against the wall. This just in. I'm in the field of play with the Bulls.
Felipe, settle the tie.
Hold on. You ever been next to a Bull?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, come on. You're in the field of play with one of those suckers.
David, I'll tell you this. I used to work at the arena. We'd have the PBR shows come through.
Right.
When you're next to the cage that they're in, you feel like you're in the field of play.
Exactly.
They're big animals.
Yes.
But you can't be hanging out on the sidelines.
The hell you can't. They're huge.
What are you going to hide behind some little guy?
No, I'm not
Push
hiding.
him in front of the Bull?
No, and I would never do that. All right, but I'm not running in the middle of the street.
You going to make one foul ball run? Am I going to get at least 10 quick paces out of you at some point, or are you just going to try to hang out the whole time and not have anything happen?
I will move, but there's a really good chance I'm going to be able to touch the side while I'm moving. There's a very good chance of that, in fact.
Where are you going to go?
Up against the wall.
Cincinnati.
I'm not running with the Bulls, if you know what I mean.
Well, first off, I just got done saying I'd never had any interest in hanging out on the sides.
I would actually do it. But I'm not running with the Bulls. I'm not in the middle of the street, okay?
Then you're not running with the Bulls.
I'm jogging with the Bulls. I'm hanging with the Bulls.
Sounds like you're going to get behind the Bulls and lead them into the pen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Give them a little slap on the behind and say, hey, there's one over there. Get the.
Hold on, though. You got to be the last one, okay? You never know if you're the last one. There only has to be one behind you for there to be trouble.
You also have to be fully prepared to scale 8-foot walls to save your life.
Correct. It's why I'm right next to it. By the way, this goes back to our whole you need to catch it in the field of play, because this just in. All right. If I scale said wall and end up on the other side, all right, am I safe or out? Hence, you must catch it in the field of play.
Blah, blah.
I like how you were able to reverse that
Thank
back
you.
into the home run thing.
Thank you. And finally, Your Honor, okay, answer me this question. If I am running with the Bulls or jogging with them, hanging with them, socializing with them, because I will not be running with them. And if I am, it's while touching the wall. I will be hanging on the warning track, put it that way.
All right, you're in the field of play.
Touching the wall, yes. But I've actually always thought that, you know what, this looks
It looks cool right up
scary.
until the guy gets run over.
No, until you go, holy blank, the sucker's coming to the wall. I thought you guys are supposed to hang out near the middle. Thought I was just supposed to be able to reach out with my left hand and touch you as you're running by. That's always like I would skydive. Like there are actually certain things that I'm like, yeah, I know that there's danger here, but you know what? I would do it.
There was a time in my life that I would have skydived. I'm petrified of heights, for the record. Petrified. I thought about doing the tandem and this whole get over my fear thing, and
Right.
and that's past.
Huh.
I'm very comfortable with being scared of heights until the day I die.
See, I would do that. I would do that. My wife would not. We've discussed it. She said, no, you're on your own. Like she wouldn't do the Bulls.
I would hope not.
Well,
She's had a couple of.
I understand. Right.
We don't need a fifth hip.
And yes, I am counting on my foul ball quickness. And that was a few years ago, though. I may have lost that step.
David, there's not a doubt in my mind. That's 10 years ago.
Easy.
Oh,
I know.
And the reference is a Yankees Rays game at the Trop in which Moulton made a beeline for a foul ball and got said foul ball and then handed it to a young lady who was sitting in front of us.
One of my best friends in the world's on your side, by the way. He said it's called running with the Bulls, not leisurely stroll with the Bulls. Says basically you got to get your fat you-know-what in play. Hold on a second. You know what? That could be the question. All right. Is it running with the Bulls if you're hanging out on the side, but you're in the field of play? I'm sorry. If you're in the field of play, if you can get gored, it's running with the Bulls.
Here's why I'm going to defend you. As much as it is strolling in a leisurely walk with the Bulls in your world, if at any point one Bull decides to take you out at the wall, you will have to run. You have no choice.
Right.
I mean, you can only half blank this for so long until the Bull says, hey, big boy,
you're in my
time to dance.
Right. You're in my cage. Just so you know.
Time to dance, big boy.
Right.
Let's go. And you know what? I'm going to lead.
It's like my former sister-in-law, first time she came to Florida. All right. And the sun is setting. And guess what? Okay. Sometimes there's sharks in the Gulf of Mexico. And so she calls and they're like, well, what do you want us to do? And she goes, well, there's a shark in the water. You remove it. And they said, ma'am, it's their ocean. That's kind of how I feel. If you scale that wall and you are in the field of play, that's their turf.
You're damn right it is.
So I'm sorry, it counts.
But it is a stroll up until the point that that Bull makes a look at you.
Well, first off, I mean, come on, look at me. I mean, first off, Felipe, you do not want some guy like me in front of you trying to run with the Bulls, because somebody like me is going to get you killed.
Yeah, because
you need to get around me.
Because if you get down, then you might trip a bull.
Well, but I'll slow you down also. You're like, dude, get out of my way. The Bulls are coming.
Felipe, I looked up the main one's in July. If you can remember, I would like you for one of the days of the Running the Bulls to show up that morning in the full white suit with the red sash.
I'll do it. Florida Sports Network, send me to Spain. Send me to Pamplona.
Oh, no. We're not going to send you there. You're just going to come as the producer dressed like you're running with the Bulls.
No.
I'll make a whole news package like, I'm here.
Right. We're going to recreate it in the back parking lot. Are you kidding? I would do it. I would wear the outfit, though. I would do it. I would do it. First off,
I've now started
me in the
I've
outfit.
started a GoFundMe page for Moulton to run with the Bulls because I want to see him in the outfit. Where can I get one of these outfits?
You just have to wear.
This is like PTI on Halloween, David. If I can get you in a running with the Bulls outfit, we have got something.
You know what? I'll dig up my
The all whites are all right tonight.
There you go. My Wilbon and Kornheiser, and I'll do some homework and see, God, Kornheiser running with the Bulls would be amazing.
You running with the Bulls would be amazing. Don't sell yourself short.
Come on now.
You got to be running on the side of it. If you're behind it, you got to be aggravating it. You got to tap it.
First
You
off,
got to.
I don't know how you get behind it. Okay, they come running at you.
You find a gap.
You find a gap.
Come on.
There's not 4 of them, There's hundreds of them. They're running at you. They're behind you. Think about what has to happen they all have to pass you. That takes a long time. And it only takes one for you to go, oh, well, thank God they're by me. Wham!
I mean, what's your middle name?
Run the damn ball.
Got to find that
Run
gap.
the damn bull. Here's the question.
That's what it's going to be. Run away from the bull.
As someone pointed out in the Twitch chat room, they believe, and I believe they're right in this, that there are 2 people who would donate decent amount of money to get you to run with the Bulls. I don't think we could ask Joe and Troy for a lot, but if I merely said, Joe, Troy, I want you to listen to this segment. The big fella's talking about running with the Bulls. We don't have that kind of money. The both of you do. Can we send Moulton to Spain to run with the Bulls? And here's the kicker, Joe, because Joe would make sure you had the outfit on.
And then they would bet on the bull.
Oh, find a gap.
You're right. I could see Buck coming off his hip for this. I could. I think Troy would be worried.
Well, yeah, because Troy thinks he needs you, even though he doesn't. He's did really well without you.
Right. Right. Get another one look just like you. Right.
But Joe would come off his hip for this.
Klecko trying to incentivize it by putting White Castles at the finish line. That's funny. That's funny. I don't think you need any incentive. Incentive is just make it. Make it through. Because the other fear that I have is this is a lot like, Tyson always joked, you have a game plan until somebody punches you in the mouth. So here I am, and I've been excited for years at the thought of doing this. And then all of a sudden, you're doing it.
Right.
There is nowhere for you to go.
Correct.
I mean, I guess you could drop to the ground and get in the fetal position. But for the most part, there is nowhere for you to go. You've decided to do this. It's like once you jump out of that plane, we're doing this.
You're in. It's
Right.
all in.
We need to land properly. It's like with the Bulls. It's either thumbs up or thumbs down.
It's not Bulls, but we'll find out about D ends and D tackles and offensive linemen.
Well, maybe there's a South Florida Bull or a Colorado Buffalo to talk about. See what I did there?
I do see what you did there. We'll do that with Pat Kirwan coming up next hour. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oops.
Uh-oh, looks like Gary's donating.
Unbelievable.
I will say, I don't understand why goaltenders aren't pressured more in soccer like that.
Who's donating?
I just saw you heard your phone buzz. I said, oh, that's Gary donating to the Running with the Bulls.
My mom says there are 6 bulls that are released to run.
Yeah, you said hundreds. It's not hundreds.
my same buddy Bob. Okay, he says, I'm with Mark on the Running with the Bulls thing. It's called Running with the Bulls, not Leisurely Stroll with the Bulls. By the way, on head size, you and the bull, it's close. Apparently, it's 6 bulls a day for 9 straight days, according to my mom.
Gotcha. That's nothing.
Six bulls a day for 9 days. All right.
Atlanta.
So you're testing it now? Boy, gave us a lot of notice in case something went wrong.
It's because he forgot. Don't act like it was planned that way.
Oh no, I know.
Oh, they got the handyman in that New York case that they think did that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got 35,000 cops. I mean, you know, they really set their mind to it. They really can't get you. Boy, Durant's gonna love all this. He's sensitive. He pays attention to this stuff.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Third and final hour for many of you of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. For those of you in the 239, we are just halfway home. It's a pleasure to welcome back Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, who's heading to Vegas next week for the NFL Draft, which is, well, less than a week away. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm anxious to get this draft over with. It really settles down a little bit after the draft, but right now it's at the peak level, to say the least, and everyone wants to know who's to trade what. I don't know. It might be a pretty quiet draft, honestly, because I don't see anyone at the top that's going to rock the world. I think a lot of guys, at least the fellas I'm talking to, are thinking we're going to get what we want right where we are. So it might be a quiet year.
All right. If anybody's going to rock the world on the draft, could it be the Houston Texans? You know, we've talked about a lot of teams, but Houston could be the team to upset the apple cart. Is there any reason to believe that they do something crazy?
You mean like try to
draft a quarterback?
I don't think they will. But, you know, I could be dead wrong in that one. I just don't like these quarterbacks enough to support that idea. But I do think that they may not take a big tackle. They may take a corner like Gardner, something like that. But I don't think they're going to do anything crazy. I think they're going to think they can get a quarterback somewhere else if they have to. And I don't know that they you know, the more I talk to them, the more they tell me how much they love Davis Mills, which I'm not buying. But I'm also not buying that they take a quarterback at 3. You got to really think these guys are franchise guys. You get in trouble pretty fast in this league if you take a quarterback up top and he's not what you basically tell the world, like Mitch Trubisky. You start doing that stuff, you'll be out before the next turn of events happens. So
Well,
I don't think they'll do it.
Well, Pat, along the lines then, you know, they draft also at 13. And if you believe that, hey, there's not going to be many deals and people are going to be able to sit tight and get what they want when they want it. Well, do we think right now that a quarterback will go before 13? I mean, Washington, you know, Atlanta's at 8, Seattle's at 9, Washington's at 11, Minnesota's at 12. Pat, I mean, I'm thinking a quarterback may not go till the Saints at 16.
Well, how do I really feel about that? I do think one will go before that, before we get to the Saints. I think one will go. I don't think more than that. Every time we've run a mock draft, you know, we're talking about 3 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds, maybe 4. But this idea of 5 quarterbacks in the first round, a friend of mine has published an article about that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But 1 or 2 in the first round is what I think. I think people really are honest with themselves because they know they've seen their friends burned or themselves. They've been on other staffs where you do that, you reach for one and they're no good. And the next thing you know, you're out of work. Nothing gets a guy fired in the personnel business faster than overdrafting a quarterback.
What should Jacksonville do with one? I mean, David and I have been discussing whether Detroit wanting Hutchinson and what if Jacksonville tried to trade with them. But if you're Jacksonville, ultimately, what should they do if they stand pat at one?
Well, everyone thinks the popular decision is Hutchinson. If there's too many games of Hutchinson not playing great and safe pick, you can take Hutchinson. And remember, isn't this the team that took Taven Bryant? Yes, not at the top, but he didn't do a thing, and everyone thought he was going to be okay. So if I were them, I would try to swap spots with Detroit for very little, not a lot. Let's just write up David's alley. Don't worry about how much compensation you're going to get. If they want Hutchinson and you don't really want him, swap spots and get something for it. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be something easy that they couldn't say no to. And then you don't have to take Hutchinson. And you can take, Walker if you want to and trade out of the spot. I think I'd do that if I were them. We had it one time. I said this before in the air. We were at 3. The team that was at 4 was afraid we were going to take the guy they wanted, and they swapped out with us, and they gave us a running back named Johnny Johnson just to do that. And Johnny came to us and rushed for 1,200 yards.
Would you settle for Detroit's third-round pick at 66? See, I would.
Me too.
I would move down one spot if I was Jacksonville and take 66, which, oh, by the way, would give me control of the top of the third round at 65 and 66, which is a valuable place to be.
I agree with that. I would do it too, the same thing. And I might take even less. I mean, that'd be great, but I might do it for 97. And because you talked about this last week, and I thought about what you said, it's kind of like, if I really just don't want Hutchinson and I can get everything else or really what I want at 2, what do I care what they're going to give me for it? So I think that's the perfect place to take it, 56, but I might do it for 97.
I'm just throwing this out there. If, let's just say this happened, Jacksonville would have 65, 66, and 70 because they have Carolina's third rounder as well. They would have 3 of the first 6 picks of the third round.
And all right, now can we just flip the script on this? If you're Detroit, I'll play this game of chicken with you. If you're the GM for Jacksonville and wanting to get pick 66 or pick 97, there's part of me that says, all right, I'm not giving you a thing. I'll stay here. Go ahead, pick Hutchinson if you want. Because to me, if you're Detroit, you're picking up here every damn year. At some point, you need players. And I don't think Hutchinson's going to change the fate of the Detroit Lions football team. Why would you do this if you're Detroit, Pat?
Well, I'll answer that. This may not be the answer you want to hear, but it's going to change the fate of the fans. The Michigan fans that I talk to all the time, not all of them. There's been some guys that just think Hutch is not that good, but most of them think the U of M, the best guy coming out of there, he's the number 1 guy in the draft. I think the Lion fans hold Hutchinson in higher esteem than anyone else in the draft. So that'd be a reason to do it. And if I felt, remember, Walker was nobody not too long ago. He was just a guy, second rounder or third rounder. He is catapulted right up the top of this draft. That doesn't mean everybody sees him that way. So you could easily see them thinking, well, Hutch solves some problems for us. It builds some momentum. And he is tough. It's not, that's the whole thing with Campbell. Is he tough enough to be a Lion? So he's all that. And he's probably the face of the organization, especially if you don't think the quarterback, Goff, is going to be there very long and be the face of the organization. They can sell Hutchinson like he's J.J. Watt, which I wouldn't do, but they might.
Well, and I know we're spending a lot of time on this. Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, moving the chains weekday afternoons, and he joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't bake fresh. But Pat, in listening to you and Jim a lot in the last 2 weeks, you guys don't think at the first pick in the second round that there's going to be really a plug-and-play tackle. So there's not going to be an elite pass rusher at 33, and there's not going to be a plug-and-play tackle. There'll be some good linemen, but not a plug-and-play tackle. And if that's the case, if you're Jacksonville with the franchise quarterback, don't you draft a plug-and-play tackle?
You should. I mean, I always use Buffalo as the example. You've got to get linemen around a young quarterback, and they bought 4 of them in free agency, and they had one from the draft, the Temple kid Dawkins. But look, the way things are going, everyone a month ago thought Tyler Smith would be a second rounder. Now, Paul Alexander has been called by so many line coaches and so many people that are making these decisions, and he's worked with Tyler. I think Tyler's now moved off the second round and into the first round somewhere. We had him going at 19, to New Orleans, who was in desperate need of a tackle. So that is the reality of the tackle group. I'm just looking at the second round. After Tyler went at 19, to your point, David, the next tackle was so far. Oh, it was Raymond. Bernhard Raymer is the next one. He did go in the second round. Again, Paul works with him, and he has plenty of good things to say about him. But he always says, look, I'm working with him, so, take it with a grain of salt. But I know what a good one looks like. So up there at the first pick of the second round, if you don't move into the first round and get Tyler Smith, then I think you just have to take Bernhard Raymer, the Central Michigan kid, at the top of the second round.
And I'm just going to throw this out there, Mark. If I was Jacksonville, I would take the tackle at 1. Try to trade down with Detroit and get anything.
Right.
But I would take the best tackle that I thought on the board. I might take Ojabu with 33 and stash him for a year.
Yeah, I would too, but I don't think he's going to be there.
Ooh.
I think a lot of guys, I don't think anyone's waiting for the second round with him.
Okay.
Now, for the Lions, that would be great. And I don't think you're going to have to stash him for the whole year, but I've had too many guys tell me that they love him. And they think the same way as you, David. They're thinking, okay, he doesn't have to pay. I'll give you an example. Kansas City, at the bottom of the first round with 2 picks, they got to get out from under Frank Clark sooner or later. And for a lot of reasons, cap-wise, everything else. But he's got some issues there, too. But he's going to be on a team this year. So to your point, David, there it is. Ojabo, take him at 29 or 30. A year from now, say goodbye to Frank and walk that kid right into the lineup.
It's a lot like Vita Vea with the Bucks. When he hurt, came back for the playoff run, you could have Ojabo for the last 4 or 5 games of the season.
Well, if Pat's right, then if you're Jacksonville and you're thinking this, say you got to also get ahead of Green Bay at 28 because they've got 2 first-rounders. They might draft a wide receiver and stash Ojabu. So maybe you call Tampa at 27. If you're Jacksonville, you got 2 third-round picks. You offer them 70 to move up 6 spots. Okay, I'll bet you Tampa would do it.
Possibly.
They should want to do it. Now, Green Bay has 2 picks in that round, and they're both ahead of Kansas City. But let's use their pick at 28, which is really in line with your Tampa Bay thought, and just move down to Jacksonville's number 1 spot in round 2. They might want to do it, but I don't think Ojabu's going to last. It'll be fun to see if that happens, but a lot of guys are thinking like you, and I look for a team that can afford to not have to play him for a year. That knows this guy's better than now. Philadelphia, there's another team. They
Interesting.
got 2 picks. Look at their pass rushers. They're old and not very good right now. I would think Philadelphia would do it.
More with Pat Kirwan. This is why we bring him on, talking about the inner workings of the draft as somebody who has made picks in the past. More with Pat on the other side.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
State record. Pat, we got to go to Destin. I just saw a bluefin, 836-pound bluefin tuna that was caught. That's what we need.
Oh, I would love to. Where did they catch it?
Out of Destin, Florida. Panhandle.
What? How far out did they go?
They did 100. They were 150 miles because they were fishing for marlin.
From the oil rigs and all that stuff.
I don't know. I've never fished out of the Panhandle. That they were fishing for marlin and catch a state record bluefin tuna.
Man, that is awesome.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah. I do like that. The only time I've been tuna fishing up off Montauk, you know what's amazing about tuna fishing off Montauk? You just go about 30 miles out, 20 miles out.
And you're in that deep water already, right?
You're right in it. The problem with up there is you get infested with sharks. You just can't stop catching them. And usually they just pick up and move because it's brutal.
Yep. I've done the blackfin, and down in the Keys, but I want to take my boy out in Carolina one of these years and do the bluefin trip in like November.
Yeah. When do they do it there? Because those fish are migrating north.
Yeah, it's like October, November in the Carolinas.
Oh, so they're coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever watch Wicked Tuna?
I have.
That show all the time.
I have. I love it.
It's just like addictive. Yeah, and it's the same. They catch the fish, they bring it in. No matter what the guy says the price is, they take it. What do you think? What do you think you're going to get for this one, Cat? $14. Oh, great.
Great.
I'm going broke. I don't have money for gas, but yeah, we'll take 14. You couldn't make it 16, could you? Not even ask.
No, there's never a negotiating. Here's what I'm giving you.
Yeah. They kind of drop to their knees and beg. It's really funny when someone on the boat misses one. The captain usually never blames himself. He blames everyone but himself.
When are you leaving?
I'm cutting the trim and fat off this thing. I'm leaving. I got a flight 6 a.m. Thursday morning. I get into Vegas at 9:45, and we go on the air. It's a double header for us on Thursday. We have a show at 1 o'clock till 5, and then the draft starts. So it's about a 10 to 12 hour day, depending on how much crap is going out in the middle of it. I do have the commissioner at. You want me to ask you anything? I got a couple things on my mind, but certainly I'll ask whatever you guys want.
When you say 1 to 5, do you mean 1 to 5 Pacific?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you then you get 20 minutes to turn around and start the draft show?
No, it doesn't get that.
Yeah. No, we just turn around.
I was going to say, it just keeps right on going, right?
Yeah. Usually what we've done in the past, Eddie's compassionate to say the least, but what we'll have is probably at least a 20-minute taped interview with somebody, who knows. And we'll play it in the last 20 minutes of the show so we can just go to the bathroom.
Right.
And then come back and here we go. The first round's fun. Anyone could do the first round. just about everyone to do the second and third. It's Saturday. You got to know what you're doing on Saturday.
There's no doubt.
Not that many people are watching, but that's when you're going to earn your money. Because we've tried to use some guys on Saturday. It's a disaster.
It's why we just do a Thursday show, Pat. Because like you just said, anybody can do a first round show.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's pretty much we beat the names up. Everyone should get, I don't know, 28 of the 32, and the order doesn't really matter. Everyone's a little quirky about who they like, but it's funny. I was doing a little something yesterday. I don't know if you were listening, David, but like I took the top 10 receivers just to remind people, because they get this mindset now that after the first round, what does it matter? Well, I took the top 10 receivers by receptions last year. And what round did they come in?
15 seconds.
You know what it averaged? It averaged the third round.
Oh,
the top 10 receivers.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, and for the top
We're going to get to that. We're coming back. We're going to get right to that.
All right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan on this Friday. MK Burgess, who covers the Packers, will join us in a little less than 20 minutes here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Pat, we were asked a question in our Twitch chat room. Do you see a running back going in the first round?
No, I do not. I think that's a popular answer. I do see one in the second round. The Iowa State kid will go in the second round. Look, I did a little study this week just to help our listeners understand the reality of the draft. And so I looked at the top 10 receivers, but I also looked at the top 10 running backs, the guys who rushed for the most yards last year. And you want to know something about the running backs? The top 10 backs last year, what round did they average coming in? Well, it turned out to be average round of 2.7, slightly under the third round, with the running backs. Taylor in the second round, just Mixon in the second round, Gibson in the third, the Cook in the second round, Kamara third round, Chubb second round. You get the point. But the irony of that was the running backs actually averaged higher draft status than the top 10 wide receivers. Now, you would never think that, neither did I. But the top 10 wide receivers averaged round 3.1. And the names were always fascinating to me. Kupp, third round. Adams, second round. Tyreek Hill, fifth round. They were the top three. Then we had a first rounder in Jefferson. Deontay Johnson, third. Keenan Allen, third. Waddle, first. Stephon Diggs, fifth. Hunter Renfrow, fifth. Chris Godwin, third. So I just try to remind all the listeners, there's gold in the late second day and into the third day. Absolute gold. And you got to be on your game to know it.
Well, let me ask you, and following that up, Pat, just with the receivers, it's a good receiver draft. How long will it take us to get to the 10th receiver in this draft? Will that be a third round pick? Will that be a fourth round pick if you follow what my logic is here?
Yeah, I think it'll end up being probably early third, which seems to be the round of choice. Kupp was a third, Deontay Johnson third, Keenan Allen a third, Chris Godwin a third. So, yeah, I think that's what you're talking about. And can you imagine we get programmed by all of us talking about the first round day and night, but reality could be pay attention to the third round. And then you're probably going to ask me, well, name some guys for the third round. I know how you think, Mark, and you think like me. So guys that I think are going to be in the third round that could land up being good pros. And the guys I just mentioned were the top 10 pros. Alex Pierce from Cincinnati. He looks like he's going to be a third rounder. George Pickens could be a third rounder. Talbot, the kid from South Alabama, could be a third rounder. Those kind of guys, pay attention to them, stay close to them. John Mechie, it's funny. I love when there's multiple receivers out of school, so I always call one guy and say, what do you think of the receivers at Alabama? He goes, man, I love that Mechie kid. Really? And he makes me go back and look. So those kind of guys, I think Dotson will go in the second round. But again, after the first round, is there a place for a guy that could be a great player? And I think those are the kind of guys I'd be paying attention to. That might end up being just that. And I think if you don't study history, you'll repeat history. And a lot of guys think there's nothing after the first and second round. There's plenty out there.
Well, Pat, you're going to hate this, but just taking that data, could I make the argument, unless it's a franchise quarterback, do I use my first round pick every year to go acquire a proven player somewhere else? Or do I trade out damn near every year? Unless I have a top 10 pick. If I'm drafting in the teens or 20s, should I use that first round pick every year for capital? Because, Pat, we go through it every year. I mean, first round picks are about a 40% hit rate. We go through that, who gets their fifth year option picked up, and it's like a 40% hit rate. Shouldn't I then use that first round pick to either trade down and get second and third rounders, or use that first round pick and buy a proven pro who I'm pretty sure I'm going to get 3-4 excellent years out of?
Well, that's the Ram model for now. Of using the picks, give the picks away for players. It gives you a nice looking team right away most of the time, because what you see on film is what you get, except that your cap ruptures. You can't pay all those guys. They are all expensive players, and you're now working a 53-man roster without entry wage salary guys. That'll catch you in the end. But your first point was the most intriguing one. Why wouldn't I just move out of the first round and get more 2s and 3s? That used to be the Belichick model. He did a lot of that for a long time. So on the who uses the option year for the first round pick? Well, if you just take the bottom 7 or 8 picks of the first round and throw them out, you'll see that almost everyone does use it. But the bottom 7 or 8 picks of the first round, there's a lot of teams that are not using the option. So those are the guys, I think, from 25 on down, probably those guys should be thinking seriously about getting extra seconds and thirds for someone who thinks, I need to go to the first round and get that option here for that quarterback I want. And this year, those quarterbacks could be all starting to drift to the bottom of the first round. And now the guys that are in the second round who think, I need that fifth year, they're the ones that are going to call you, and you might get some movement in, and I would sell my spot if I was one of those teams. Not all of them. I think, Kansas City and Ajabo, I say, no, I'm staying with one, but I don't have to stay with 2. So I think those guys should be talking about moving down.
All right. If you want to get Ritter, where do you have to go, Pat? At the end of the day, if you're going to get the Cincinnati quarterback, where are you going to have to be in this draft in your estimation?
Well, I think in a perfect world, which nothing's perfect, he would fall to Seattle at number 8 in the second round. That'd be one place I think he'd go. He'd fall to Houston at number 5 in the second round, pick 37. Those kind of places for him. But again, there's a prime example of someone who might say, why don't we call Kansas City after they pick at 29 and see if they'll give us 30 in Seattle, move up, lock it up, get the guy. One, prevents anyone else. See, here's the problem with the way the draft struck. It's not a problem. It's a great thing. But we stop the draft after round 1 and have a night off. And then we do it again after round 3. The problem is, and I've said it on this show in years past, I had the first pick in every round twice, unfortunately. With the amount of calls you get in the overnight is ridiculous. So someone below Jacksonville in the second round is going to be calling Jacksonville all night long and into the next day, trying to get that spot in order to pick up what they want. And sometimes if the quarterbacks fall the way I think they will, it'll be a quarterback. So if I'm Seattle and you like the Desmond, I would call Kansas City and try to get spot 30 and take them and have the fifth year option. As I said, guys aren't using it, but everyone who takes a quarterback thinks they should get it. That's what I would do, and I think you'll get someone to sell their spot.
I mentioned that I think Tennessee might grab him at 26. You hearing anything like that?
He's the kind of guy that that head coach is going to want to coach. There's no doubt about that. when you talk, I sat face to face with all these quarterbacks, but Desmond is the guy that impressed me the most. He's just a real solid, rugged guy. And he is, when you think about what goes on in Tennessee and what they like, I think he's going to be very appealing to them. He's got big hands. He's physical. He's fast. He's started 49 games. I've been promoting Desmond Ridder since we came back from the Senior Bowl. Doesn't make me right, but he'd be the guy I'd want in this group.
He's Pat Kirwan. Weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. It's Moving the Chains, the show on NFL radio, Sirius XM 88. Him and Jim Miller have been doing it for a decade. He's heading to Vegas next week to broadcast the draft live. Once again, we will talk to Pat on Tuesday of next week. Pat, enjoy your hockey weekend. We'll talk next week. Pat Kirwan, NFL radio, Moving the Chains. MK Burgess, Packers talk next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Says great info. But most foul-mouthed coach.
Right.
Worse than Coach K. Which
Yeah, you said. So, all right. Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene having a hearing today?
no idea.
The Lincoln Project just says good morning to everybody except for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She can have the day she deserves. So I looked at it. Hearing begins at 9:30. Will be live streamed on C-SPAN. She's suspected to take the stand. So it says Ron Fine, who is the architect of various 14th Amendment Section 3 lawsuits, says he's loaded for bear. Could be high drama.
Adam, is there a different Oscar Robertson? Yeah, it's funny. The Iowa center is going about 10 spots later than he was a month ago through no fault of his own.
W. Favre. I forgot. I should have known that. W. Favre.
Right.
She works for Brett Favre TV in my eyes.
Right.
Couple of followers today. Pretty big day today, David.
Wow.
Got the text of the month.
Okay.
I'll read this on the air again. He says, let me get this straight. A guy who owns a bulldog so he doesn't have to go on long walks wants to run with the bulls.
That's good. That's good. I didn't get the bulldog from me.
I know, but it's a really good text.
If we cut it a couple minutes short with MK, I can address the running of the bulls because I've got more information.
Oh, and I think we should because I don't want to do 20 minutes with her.
I think Rufus needs to make an appearance here. Bring Rufus on the show. I'll hang out with him in here.
Believe it or not, Rufus is a her. My daughter
that's right.
always wanted a dog named Rufus, so it didn't matter. Rufus wouldn't even like the 15-minute car ride here.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Rufus, not a big fan of the car ride.
Oh, wow.
Although likes to get in the car because she knows she's going to the vet. Loves the vet. They treat her like royalty there.
I've met Frank. Frank's a good dog.
Yeah, Frank just wants rubs.
What I like exactly.
Frank just wants attention.
What I like about Frank is that he kind of looks like Bevo. A little bit, like his pattern.
Okay.
He looks like Bevo.
Carlissimo was like, really? You wearing a sport jacket? You kidding me? I picked these pants up off the floor before I came in this morning. Look at him.
I know. It's like he was running late and they called him.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the hour is up. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. We might be waking MK Burgess up, Channel 5 in Green Bay. Did we?
Probably, but that's okay.
Sorry about that. Listen, have you been able to get out of town or have you spent the whole winter in Green Bay?
I got to go see my boyfriend in Seattle at the end of March, which was nice because it was like 65 up there for the entire weekend. But otherwise, I'm pretty much I'm here until the draft is done. And then once the draft is done is when people start really taking vacation. So next week is kind of my big final hurrah of the off season, and then I get a little bit of a break. But then I have to be back because the off season workouts begin.
Well, all right. Green Bay, 2 first-round picks. Any chance, in your estimation, they move up to go get one of the top receivers? Is there any thoughts of trades out of Green Bay to go up and get somebody?
I don't know. I could see them doing that, but Brian Gutekunst is also very, very savvy in his draft process. Everyone I think has been talking about Chris Olave, right? Like the receiver out of Ohio State, about how shifty he looks, how great his hands look, his explosiveness, his route running ability. And I think a lot of Packer fans would love to see him in the green and gold. But for me, I think you have so many picks already in the top 54 that I don't know that you would want to give any of those up just for one guy. So I could maybe see it, but I also am not going to be surprised if Gutekunst doesn't. I think they're going to draft a receiver in the first round for sure. I just don't know if they'll trade up necessarily to get who fans think they should.
MK Burgess, Channel 5 in Green Bay. Follow MK on Twitter, MK_Burgess, BURGESS. 22 and 28 in the first round for Green Bay. You said you definitely think they will take a receiver. If they're not trading 28 out because somebody wants to jump in and grab Ojabu or a quarterback or what have you, if they stay at 28, let's assume they go wide receiver early. What do you think position-wise they would prioritize next?
I mean, I think they might do back-to-back receivers just because their room right now is not looking great depth-wise. But after receiver, I think that they're probably going to look for an edge rusher. I think with the departure of Zadarius Smith, you seriously need to just add a little bit more help to give Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. I think that, you still need a little bit of that depth. And that Packers defense at the end of last season looked absolutely nasty. And if you get everyone coming back healthy, not only in the secondary, but also on the front line, and then you add Jerron Reed, I think it's going to be really, really, really interesting to see what happens there. But I think they still need a little bit more depth, help. And even Jerry Montgomery was saying that, you're kind of looking for someone to be a shifty guy, someone who's a little bit twitchier that you can bring in to be a third down pass rusher. So I think they either need another defensive line help or they really need another edge rusher.
Well, an edge rusher, we've been talking about Ojabo, the kid from Michigan with the Achilles. If he were to fall to 28, to me, that would be a perfect spot for someone like Green Bay to play him because they could maybe have him for December in the season, and a playoff run. Because MK, you're aware, obviously, you know this better than anybody. What happens between now and January really doesn't matter for the Green Bay Packers. It's all about the postseason. So to me, if Ojabo was there at 28, I don't know what you think, but I think that would be a home run.
I think that would be a really, really great pick. The other person that I was looking at for them for 28 was George Karlaftis from Purdue. He also looks really, really shifty as well. So I think that's a really, really great pick. And then the other position that I think they should be looking at is they need a little bit more depth on their offensive line. The last 2 seasons, their offensive line has been so solid despite a bunch of injuries, especially last year. And Rodgers was sacked less to none because of that. So, this season you're getting David Bakhtiari off of that ACL tear. And then, but you also are going to have Elton Jenkins, who's going to be out for quite a while because he tore his Achilles his ACL midway through the season. So you're just needing a little bit more depth on that offensive line. But I think what they're going to prioritize first is going to be wide receiver. And then you're also going to prioritize defensive edge. I think that's what you're looking for.
Packers with 2 firsts and 2 seconds, 22, 28, 53, and 59 are Green Bay's picks in the first 2 rounds of the draft. You'd think that Green Bay may still sign somebody, that they're playing the waiting game with someone and maybe fill a need through veteran free agency, say, I don't know, a week from Monday.
I think they're going to wait for the draft. They've already signed Sammy Watkins to a 1-year deal. That the majority of that deal is a lot of incentives based on playing time. So they've already added that kind of veteran wide receiver to their room, but I think they're going to see what they can get in the draft. And then if people are still available, they may sign somebody else. But I think you also need to wait and see if Rodgers is going to do his recruiting thing, if he's going to be able to recruit some big time things. Cause Jarvis Landry is still on the table. It still hasn't signed a re-contract with anyone yet. But, obviously he's recovering from his own knee injury as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but I think they're going to wait and see what they're going to do with the draft. And then whatever they get in the draft, if they still feel that they need to add somebody, then they will. But I think the majority of what Gutekunst is going to be looking for is going to be in the draft. I also could be completely wrong. I mean, that man is a team building machine. I just think that for most people who are Packers fans, they're just wanting to get all the right pieces in so that they can get over the playoff hump.
And it's, we talk about teams like the Jets and the Giants and how they've got to hit home runs in this draft. You can look at the Packers, MK, and say the same darn thing. With 5 picks in the first 92, this is where, Green Bay can excel themselves past the LA Rams and Tampa Bay. We always talk about the bad teams in the draft. This is a monster draft for the Packers, isn't it?
I would agree. I think just because of what moves have been made in the offseason and who's left and the key pieces that you're looking for, I think they need to necessarily hit it out of the park. I think they need to get enough key pieces not only to get them over the hump this year, but also making sure to set themselves up for success down the road. Just because of cap situation and what's going to happen in dead cap space in a couple of years, I think this draft is very important because, as you said, this is a lot of draft picks in the first 92 picks. And you're not going to have that in years to come. So who you pick this year could set you up for the next couple of years with your team, especially knowing what your money situation is going to look like in a few years. So yeah, I would take advantage of what you pick this year because, I mean, you may not have this much capital next year.
MK, I know that it doesn't matter anymore, but my final question is, what do the Packers think of Jordan Love today? Like, do they think he's an NFL quarterback? Or is this somebody that, boy, it's a good thing things worked out with Aaron because we missed on this one?
I don't know. I think the Packers protect their first-round picks like they're princes and princesses. Like, I think that they literally covet them and they don't like to give them up in any way, right? Because then it kind of sounds like you made a mistake in drafting them. I don't think that they feel they made a mistake in drafting Jordan Love, but I do think that he hasn't had enough practice or experience in real live NFL actuality to make a decision. I think they still need to see more. And I mean, that's the downside of playing behind Aaron Rodgers at the level that he's still playing. Now, from what I can see, and I am, just an average observer, the kid's got an arm. I just think he needs more growth. And with a coach like Matt LaFleur, it should be easier for him to continue to progress. But, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Jordan Love? Obviously, Rodgers is there for a couple more years. And unless he gets injured or something crazy happens, like, COVID and all that, but with COVID protocols being done in the NFL, I don't see that happening. So if, he gets injured, then he would have to step up to the plate. But I think everyone is just kind of still seeing what's going on with Aaron's play and with the man's the back-to-back MVP. So I don't foresee Jordan Love taking the field anytime soon. But I think they think enough of him to keep him on the roster as the backup. But whether or not he will ever start for Green Bay is only time will tell.
MK, we appreciate you. Thanks so much. All the best over the
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.
Have a wonderful day.
MK Burgess, Channel 5 in Green Bay. You can follow her on Twitter at MK_Burgess, MK_BURGESS. A couple of things here. One serious note.
Yeah.
Been a remarkable last week of losses for the hockey world. It was a week ago, Mike Bossy from Quebec, elite right wing. Well, the first from Quebec, elite right wing, that Bossy pretty much followed in the footsteps of, the Flower, Guy Lafleur, has just passed away at the age of 70. He had a lot of health problems in the last 3 years, a recurrence of lung cancer about a year and a half ago. There were some ominous reports in the last week about Guy Lafleur, the same ominous reports that had come in the final week of Mike Bossy's life, but the flower, Guy Lafleur, has passed away this morning at the age of 70.
Far too young. What a great talent. What's so fun to watch play the game. Such a great skater.
Came down that right wing, wind up. Just ask Bruins fans.
Oh, yeah. No doubt there.
And but really hockey had a dynastic run in a row. It was the Canadiens of the 70s, which turned into the Islanders of the early 80s, which turned into Edmonton of the mid and late 80s. And maybe the two, there were Hall of Famers all over the Canadiens and Islanders, but you could argue the two most flamboyant Hall of Famers on those Canadian and Islander dynasties were Lafleur and Bossy.
No doubt. I don't think it's arguable. Come on, there aren't many players that you can say the flower to any hockey fan. They know exactly who you're talking about. So,
and he didn't wear a helmet his whole career. And so the flowing hair,
great hair. Guy Lafleur had great hair. That's called flow. Even small towns in Minnesota can recognize the flow of one Guy Lafleur.
Earlier in the show, we were having some fun talking about the running of the Bulls and whether or not I would do it. I made the comment that there were, 100 bulls or dozens of bulls, whatever it was that I said. My mother said, listen, there are 6 bulls and 6 oxen that are released. The oxen are to keep the bulls calm and herd the bulls. All right. And the bulls go to the arena in the afternoon to be killed in a bullfight. 1 million people attend the running. It happens for 9 straight days, by the way. The running of the bulls.
6 bulls?
And 6 oxen.
I'm not worried about the oxen. 6 bulls?
That's apparently so.
Oh.
For 9 straight days, though. For 9 straight days.
I'm back in.
It's not the same 6, I don't believe.
I don't care. I'm in.
So it's not
I don't have to run all 9 days.
Right. No, you got to do it one time.
We did get this text, David. It said, let me get this straight. The guy who owns the Bulldogs so he doesn't have to go on long walks wants to run with the Bulls?
Come on now.
So good.
It's a great line, but it's a little unfair. Didn't get the Bulldog for myself. We got it for the daughter. All right.
And you enjoy a long walk. Not as much as a leisurely ride.
No. And right, I walk a couple miles at a time. We can't get the Bulldog to walk to the end of the driveway.
It doesn't take away from the fact that that's a really good line.
Oh, it's tremendous.
He won the text line today, in my opinion.
Well done, sir. Well done. Miller and Moulton.
Well, that is an hour of some nitty-gritty draft talk right there.
Well, got to admit, though, this is the way you and I like to talk and cover the draft. We think that the more interesting part of the draft is not necessarily the players, but since teams are drafting a lot for need now. Generation ago, it was you just took the best player on the board. Now, this is a year-to-year league. You fill needs with the draft. And then you do it again the next year and the next year.
Yeah, it went from best player available to best player for your need.
Available. And so that's why, going team by team. And so it's interesting, MK saying, maybe the Packers double down at receiver. I don't think they do. The scenario that you brought up, they got a receiver at 22 and maybe they try to grab a Jabu at 28.
If he's there. I could see that being a perfect fit. Also, if they need some offensive line help, there's going to be one of the, there's some guards that have first-round grade potential that you can be grabbing there.
Linderbaum, the Iowa center, may even fall to 28. Miller and Moulton. For those of you leaving, have a great rest of your day and weekend. The bonus hours next. Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So what are you looking at over there? T-Wolves Twitter?
T-Wolves Twitter is in a bad place right now.
Ooh-wee.
How much are the Heat favored by tonight?
I haven't looked it up.
Let's see.
I'm going to take a guess. 3.5.
One and a half. Oh my God, hit that over.
Right? There is nothing, I know you will never love doing mornings, but there is nothing better than Friday at 9:00 going, I got an hour left in my week.
Oh, no. Listen, when the show's done, it's great. It really is. It's 10 a.m. Got your whole day. Right.
And I got class canceled today, so
And you don't have many days of classes left.
I might go hoop.
My kid had to do like a group Zoom meeting yesterday, and so he's doing it on my computer. And I'm like, hey, what's the pass? And so I had to kind of go up there because I forgot it's my upstairs there's a board with a mic like this. It's not a normal setup, and I'm up there, and he's telling me, I got two pretty good looking girls in this Zoom chat. So I'm like, he's like, you can go now. You can go. And I'm like, I almost tried to embarrass the hell out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is this the one that you said as the cute girl in the chat?
Sometimes that helps.
Okay. Cue that sucker back up.
I saw it. I watched it during MK's interview. Oh, no. He turns back into it.
Boom!
I actually think it might be a block. He's moving. That's the bad part.
Yeah, he's not set.
I think it's a block.
He's not set. Yeah.
I think it's a block.
Nope, that's true. It's true. He's not set. This is tweet of the day, late last night. They're making a big deal. Jay Haas and his son are in the Zurich. And then I think the next week that Jay Haas, when he plays on the Champions Tour, will make his 700th career start in a professional event between the two tours. 700th start. This guy tweeted out, Sam Snead was in the field when Jay Haas made his PGA Tour debut. Today, Jay and his son shot the same score as the team of Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa, both of whom were born in 97.
Wow. Who the hell is this crew? Who's next to Carlissimo?
Oh, God, NFL guy, former GM. Oh, no, that's, is that their NBA cap guy?
That's all NBA.
Yes.
This is all NBA.
Yes, it's an NBA cap guy.
Who's this big guy?
Bobby Marks, I think, is in between Carlissimo and Hannah.
Who's the big dude?
Don't know.
Look at Hannah.
Hannah and her husband go to Knicks games.
Yes, they do. Come back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, the final hour of the week of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, all coming up in roughly 40 minutes time. You can chime in. It's been a big day on Twitch. All right, got followers, got subscribers today. Mark's all excited. The Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you get a free Twitch subscription every month. Make the Miller and Moulton channel your channel of choice. And to follow us, that's free.
I don't know of anybody that's embraced the Twitch chat room more than you.
Right.
You love to be interactive with our listeners.
Yes.
It hurts your feelings at times that we don't have a phone, so we can't take calls on occasion. It bothers you.
It does.
We have the text line. We have the Twitch chat room, and we have a very active group of listeners who do it, and yet you seem to throw all of this Twitch stuff at me like it's bothersome to you.
Well, it's not bothersome. It's just I know how much that this means to you. And you have such high, lofty goals.
Well, I
about
try
us
to
on
embrace
Twitch.
technology in the future, David.
All right. This may not make sense. Well, I don't always embrace it, mostly because I'm intimidated by it. I'll be honest. It's because I don't know what I'm doing. And for the most part, I'm fairly, I'm not a dumb guy.
No, I think you're a very smart human being.
And so when I can't do things well, it bothers me. And I don't do technology well. And the older I get, the more I'm shying away from it because I don't do it well. And basically, I would like somebody to be able to just follow me around and show me.
Well, I do subscribe to the personal technology assistant theory of yours, because there are things when I can't do it. I'm just like, where's the 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 18-year-old that can do this in 4 seconds and get it over with? But technology, in a way, has come to you. David, you had to type columns using 2 fingers on typewriters. The texting, you were so far ahead of texting, it's not even funny. Decades.
Vern used to ask me on the bus, what are you doing? Okay. And I'm just double thumbing it on my phone, typing a column. All right. And he goes, you're writing a column right now? I go, yeah, I'm writing a column. All right. He goes, man, you're really hunting and pecking over there, aren't you? I go, yep, that's how I do it.
And it didn't matter if it was a typewriter or his phone, because it's the same method. You just get after it. You head down, goes to work. So in a way, technology has actually come to you, David.
Miller and Moulton here. If you haven't heard, Guy Lafleur passed away this morning at the age of 70. That's after a week ago, Mike Bossy passed away at the age of 65. Far too young, two dynamic right wingers. I contend Lafleur was the Canadians' last superstar. Patrick Roy, great, obviously. Chelios started with him, great. And there have been others, but I really believe Lafleur was their last superstar.
I would say Wah.
You think he was a superstar?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was he a superstar with them?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, 2 cups.
He won 2 cups with them, and they ran him out of town. and ownership and management, not ownership, but management ran him out of town. I mean, it was a game against the Red Wings. They left him in. I think it was 10-1 or something like that.
Right. And
I'm actually pulling a Moulton for the first time. It feels pretty good that I can remember why some of these things happen. But they left him in the game, and you don't leave a goaltender, particularly a Patrick Roy,
right
in the game when he's getting shelled of the teams, and he was embarrassed at home.
Right. Yep.
It wasn't at the Joe.
When they finally pulled him, he goes onto the bench, and the guy who owns the Canadians was sitting in the first row behind the bench, and he leaned over to him and he said, "I'm never blanking playing here again." And he went home, and they found out he was serious. And a few days later, he was a member of the Colorado Avalanche, who just the year before were the Quebec Nordiques, also bitter rivals of the Canadians.
And I think that one bit the Canadians more than the other way around, if you know what I mean. That affected that franchise negatively for quite a while. And that he was a superstar in Quebec. Maybe not in North America, but in Canada and where the sport was big, he was a superstar in that country. I do believe that. But passing to Lafleur, that just sad to hear at 70 years old. Very young.
And we're big hockey fans, and it was a big hockey night last night. But, yeah, boy. I mean, Lafleur was a different style because Ovechkin's so physical, but you know, it's so funny how, like the night that Magic informed the world, November 7th of 91, that he was HIV positive. It was either that night or the next night. Bird played his first game, and people who followed Bird said, he was obviously a great passer and this, that, and the other thing, but he didn't make this particular pass. And Bird kind of on the run went from right to left. It was a Maravich Magic-like pass, and he whipped it around, and it was 50 feet down court and hit a guy in stride for a layup. And those that covered it were like, it was almost like his ode to Magic. And Ovechkin scored a goal a couple of nights ago in Vegas, and it was a bossy Lafleur goal. You don't see the big slapper from the top of the circle.
Because they can't beat the goalie with it anymore for the most part.
Coming down the wing with speed, and they wind up and they slap that sucker from, what's that, about 30, 35 feet. Yeah, goalie, they're big, the pads, they come out, they cut down the angle, there's nothing to shoot at. And Ovechkin scored one of those to tie the game late third against Vegas. And it was very much a bossy of Lafleur goal that you just don't see anymore. It's not in the game anymore. And it's ironic because, I asked you the question off air a couple nights ago. Do you consider Ovechkin a right wing or a left wing?
I answered yes.
And it's because actually there are far more great right wingers than there are left wingers in the history of the sport. But also because it was that goal that made me think of it, in which I'm like, if you consider him a right winger, and I think of him more as a left winger, that he plays there more, and that's where he sets up
on the power play,
play,
because they put him on the opposite side because you can let the one-timer go. So,
but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Sports sometimes works and life works in mysterious ways together. And it was almost as if somehow, and those that cover Ovechkin and the Caps are like, he scored very few of those type goals in his career. dynamic wrist shot in close, that the power play, the one timer on a power play, yes, but not in a rush.
But a one-timer beats the goalie because he's not there. What this goal was the goalie's there.
Right.
And these goalies are 6'5" now. They're so damn big. And he just let one rip and beat him with a slap shot, which doesn't happen all that often. Now everything's about traffic and tips and moving the puck across ice. So,
and it was almost like Ovechkin, whether he realized it or not, he paid homage to Bossy and LaFleur by the goal that he scored the other night in Vegas.
No doubt. I do think Tampa had a big win for them last night.
Well, and also for Toronto.
Well, that's why it's a big win, though. They've won. They may play him in the first round. So it's a little bit of a pat your little brother on the head tap there and go, just remember when we want to, this is what we can do. Now, there was no Matthews last night for Toronto.
I know.
It doesn't matter in 8-1 to me.
No.
And it was 2-0 mid-second.
It was 1-0 mid-second. And then all of a sudden the Lightning said, we'll take it from here. And, we had wondered, is Tampa Bay playing possum?
And I don't think that they were. I don't think you can do that when you're in games 75 through 82. It's one thing to have a, game 45 to 60 skid, if you will. But this is too far in the season to say we can just turn it on. Well, last night they turned it on after an embarrassing loss to Detroit a couple of days ago and just hounded the Leafs last night, as if to not only send the Leafs, but everybody else in the Eastern Conference a message that the cup comes through Tampa.
Till proven otherwise, it does. I'm sorry. And that's because they got a goalie. In fact, until proven otherwise, Mark, they have the goalie until somebody can beat them. So I feel badly for Toronto Maple Leaf fans. 18 years since they've gotten out of the first round. And I don't know if you're doing it this year either, with probably the best team that you've had certainly since the 93 and 94 teams went to back-to-back conference finals. I really do think these are their best teams in nearly 30 years. Big night in the NBA tonight. Like, does Miami put Atlanta away? Does Chicago actually make this a series? No Chris Middleton for the Bucks.
I was going to say, with Middleton out, that makes tonight really interesting.
And no Devin Booker for the rest of the series for the Phoenix Suns. And you have to start to wonder, will we have a Zion appearance for the Pelicans? He's been working out with them for a while. I mean, if Ben Simmons is supposed to come back by game 4, he hasn't played all year.
Yeah, I mean, we got Luka coming back from injury. Just from a standpoint of playoffs, you've got Ben Simmons that's possibly going to play in game 4.
And here you got Booker's going to miss the rest of the series for Phoenix. Middleton's going to miss the rest of the series for Milwaukee. Those two series are 1-1, and they're now going on the road.
Both the Bucks and Suns favored tonight, for the record. Slight favorites. The Bucks a 2.5-point favorite. The Suns a 2-point favorite. The Heat just a 1-point favorite tonight in Atlanta.
So 3 road favorites is what you're saying.
3 road favorites by a combined 5.5 points, though.
Would you just take the road favorites and lay the 1.5 to 2.5 points on all 3?
I would do it on all 3.
Road teams went 3-0 in the NBA last night.
I would do it on all 3, and I'd probably run a 3-team parlay so I can get the 6 back on each of them.
Ooh, look at you getting aggressive.
Book it.
Did you do that in honor of Booker there? Is that also what you were thinking when you said book it? Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Can the Pelicans pull this out?
I don't believe they're good enough.
The difference in regular – Phoenix won 64 games. New Orleans won 36. Now, granted, New Orleans was a very different team after they got McCollum. They were an above 500 team. But, I mean, there is quite the disparity. It's a 28-game regular season disparity. But Phoenix without Devin Booker, that's kind of a big deal. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, I don't watch old games from 4 years ago. I will watch old games from 40 years ago, though.
It is an entirely different sport. It's, I mean, when you watch, I mean, God, particularly the 70s, I mean, Jesus. But
Just play defense like this.
well, and just the, the lack of skating. It's also why Larry Robinson was amazing. He was one of the few defensemen who could take the puck from behind his net and carry it up the ice into the offensive zone. Fam, how about this? Does the Devin Booker injury make Golden State a much bigger play to go to the finals?
The more they play playoff basketball, the more I think of them. I think very highly of them now.
Well, and the also thing is, with all the injuries that are happening in and around the playoffs, we don't normally think of this, but Miami and Golden State could potentially just, and Boston for that matter, if they just can wrap these series up and be done with them.
A Heat Warriors finals would be amazing. That would be awesome.
So would a Philly Warriors final?
So would a Boston Warriors final.
I think Philly Suns would be better. Actually, no, Philly Warriors. Because
wait, are you talking ratings, or are you just talking the style of play?
I think he's talking the style of play. He doesn't care about ratings.
Style of play.
I was going to say.
What would be the best finals matchup ratings-wise?
Golden State against anybody.
Golden State, Brooklyn. Golden State, Brooklyn, yeah.
Golden State, Brooklyn, period, end of sentence.
Yeah.
Followed by Golden State, Boston.
Yes. Followed by Golden State, probably
Philly.
Well, Golden State Philly was supposed to be the 2019 NBA Finals, and you can't tell me otherwise.
But I think
You think Philly was supposed to beat Toronto that year?
Well, I mean,
Toronto-
Kawhi's shot doesn't go in.
But remember,
it goes to overtime.
Toronto at home court.
I know, but I still think Philly would have won in overtime.
Really?
Mhm.
Why? You do know that shot that Embiid hit was the first shot he's ever hit in the final seconds of a game, ever in his NBA career, in a tie or win situation.
It was his
He was
first.
0 for 14 in situations like that in his career.
But you know who the Sixers had? that
Yinzer,
year?
I'm sorry, Paul Coffey right up there with what? I'm missing this.
But also, Yinzer, I mentioned specifically the 70s, okay, about the lack of defensemen who could carry the puck.
Oh, that's okay.
And so if you're going to start bringing up Coffey and Leach and, they came later.
Well, then that's where the game is right now. The defensemen, the young set of defensemen that are coming to this game.
Yes.
The kid from Colorado, the kid from Detroit, the kid that was like the number 2 overall pick last year, apparently is just a stud.
Well, and even the year that Yossi's having with Nashville.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
David, one thing you have to consider about that 19 team, they had Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I know, but the guys on the team weren't listening to Jimmy Butler.
Well, it's not that they weren't listening to Jimmy Butler. It's that.
Well, Jimmy Butler said they weren't listening to him.
Well,
I mean, when he left, he said, the guys here won't listen to me. And the coach supported Embiid.
they just changed their play style in that series when they had something going all year that worked for them.
Yeah, and Jimmy Butler was going, hey.
Give Ben the ball. Or give me the ball.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. We have the one bet out there about how many teams
Trade back into the first round that don't have a first round pick.
And there's 8 teams that don't have a first round pick. So you don't count if somebody who's already taken, they had a first round pick and then they trade back in again. That doesn't count. So it has to be of the 8 teams who don't have first round picks.
The question that was asked of you of the teams that do not have first round picks, how many of them come back into the first round? I'm fine with however we want to dissect this. That was the original question.
Gotcha. And the over-under is 1.5. And of course, I always go over on the number of trades because it's my wish.
Overs are more fun.
Right.
Unders are boring.
But Pat was on last hour, Pat Kirwan, and he said, this may not be an exciting draft. The more I talk to guys, the more I think guys are just going to hang tight and get who they want where they are. So with that in mind, you tell me where the first quarterback goes.
I think the first quarterback will go by pick 13.
You think Houston's taking a quarterback at 13?
I said by pick 13. I think someone between 8 and 13 is taking a quarterback. Atlanta, Seattle, Washington, Houston.
Atlanta's 8, Seattle's 9, Washington's 11. I'm just going to throw it out there. Minnesota's 12. I mean, they do have a love-hate thing going with Cousins. I know they extended him one more year. I could argue that makes him more tradable. Not this year, but maybe next. And then you got Houston at 13. Ravens are going to hang tight and get whatever it is they want because that's how it works.
Right, and the Ravens going, please take a quarterback. That would be fantastic.
No one thinks Philly's going to take a quarterback with the first of their 2 first-round picks at 15. They're 15 and 18. New Orleans is 16 and 19. Now, New Orleans has Jameis and Andy Dalton.
And David, for whatever reason, I don't think New Orleans is taking a quarterback.
I don't think so either.
The last time they had 2 first-round picks, they filled 2 holes for 8 to 10 years. I think that's what the Saints are thinking going into this draft. I think they think we can get a tackle and
a wide receiver.
Right.
At 16 and 19, and we can get a safety with their second-round pick and call it a day.
And if by chance somehow Hamilton were to slip to 16, then they'd go safety and then receiver.
But remember, there are a few people that think New Orleans is packaging picks and moving up.
And you and I both are not those people.
I do not think Washington takes a quarterback at 11. I do not think Atlanta takes one at 8. And I do not think Seattle takes one at 9.
I think Seattle's very interested in Malik Willis, but I do think what Pat said, that Seattle thinks maybe 40 and 41 they could package and come back up, and whether it's get the Cincinnati kid.
Desmond Ridder.
I mean, Seattle does have 40 and 41 in the second round. That's valuable ammo to a team.
Listen, if I'm the Bucks at 27, I'm listening. If somebody's offering me 2 second-round picks, if you're the Bucks, would you take that?
All day long.
I would also.
One, the Bucks don't have a ton of money under the cap, so just a little sacrifice first to second is not a bad thing. Secondly, they can get 2 quality players there.
Hell, the Cowboys might do it, believe it or not. Cowboys are threatening to be very unsexy in this first round and just drafting best offensive lineman on the board. There are people who think the center from Iowa could fall all the way to Cincinnati at 31. I think Dallas could take him at 24.
Cincinnati would do backflips if they address the tackle position in the free agency and then can address the center position and fix that line that way. Oh, my goodness.
Got to figure the Patriots can get a wide receiver at 21.
And I think if Pittsburgh takes a quarterback at 20, that bodes well for everybody picking beneath them.
Come on. You think they're not taking a quarterback at 20? Or do you think it depends if a certain guy is available, they'll take him at 20?
I think they take Pickett at 20 if he's there.
See, it's funny. I think they take Willis at 20.
I don't think Willis is there at 20. I just don't.
Well, and what I mean is if Willis is gone, that they then go in a different direction.
Okay.
And the Chargers are a wild card. Nobody knows what they're going to do at 17. Do they stay? Do they trade out? What is it they're looking for?
And the Chargers, to me, that's another spot. They should be drafting like Baltimore. Let the thing fall to you. Take the best player there. They're close. That's a good roster.
Take the center from Iowa. I don't think they're going to do it. But if Pat's right, and there aren't going to be a lot of trades, see, it's difficult for me to imagine. There may not be a lot of trades in the first half of the draft. Like, I don't think the Jets are trading out at 10. I don't. I don't think they're getting Debo. I don't think they're getting the Titans wide receiver. I really don't.
I don't think they're trading out of 10 unless they're getting Debo, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think someone's going to swoop up and try to take – I don't think New Orleans is taking their 2 picks and trying to get to 10. I don't think they're interested in that.
Somebody tweeted out this suggestion, and I thought it was fascinating. If you're Carolina, and remember, you don't have a second or a third round pick, so you're sitting there at 6. If you called the Niners and said, I'll take Garoppolo and Debo off your hands and give you the 6th pick of the draft. Now, the Niners have a late second. They got a late third, but they don't have a first-round pick. 6th overall pick of the draft.
For both Garoppolo?
Well, but remember, Garoppolo, they may have it in the back of their mind that we're going to move on from Jimmy. We haven't had anybody willing to give us anything for Jimmy. It's a non-guaranteed contract. That frees up $24.5 million. They can sign Bosa that way. I mean, the loss is Debo.
No. So basically, it's almost like the Stafford Goff trade. Well, Goff's going to Detroit, and we're going to have to throw a third rounder in so you take him with you. That's really, you're almost saying Jimmy G's getting thrown in this deal.
But if you're Carolina and you're Matt Rule and you're like, I got to do something this year or I'm fired, right? Do you go, and I got a much better chance of doing something with Jimmy G than I do Sam Darnold?
Absolutely. Well, the thought is that Baker could end up there anyhow. And you get Jimmy G for less than what it's going to cost you to get Baker.
Now you're still on the hook for Darnold's 20-something million, though. But also Debo, where he grew up, and all that. I don't believe, by the way, the Schefter report about, he wants to play closer to home. I think that's garbage. I think Schefter just got caught, running his mouth on TV. And, it happens, believe me, when you're talking into a microphone for hours at a time. Sometimes you say stupid things, as two people who should know.
Welcome to Miller and Moulton.
But what if you're the Niners and Carolina called you up and said, I'll take Garoppolo and the $24.5 million cap problem that you have off your hands, but basically I'm giving you the 6th pick for Debo.
Boy, that'd be an interesting pseudo receiver backfield.
Well, imagine
with McCaffrey and Debo Samuel.
Well,
I mean, come on.
But also they got Robbie Anderson, right? And the offensive line's above average. It's not great, but it's above average.
At some point, every defensive pick you've made over the last 3 years has to pan out to having the defense be better, and it was pretty good last year.
Jimmy G was taken, 2 the last 3 years, been quarterback in the NFC title game. If Carolina was that desperate and called you, how would you answer that if you're San Francisco?
Miller and Moulton, good, bad, and the ugly. Next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's not true, ugly bag of water. He actually gets real good information. It's just that time he was truly speculating. Like the first part of his on camera there, that was all factual. I mean, Schefter's the Woj of NFL reporting. He's super connected. He gets good information. It's how he presents it which has gotten him in trouble. Or is
Or
in the GOAT conversation, even with the injuries.
You know, Orr's on the Mount Rushmore. Sorry. I mean, he is. It's Gretzky, Lemieux, Orr. And
probably Howe.
Yeah, and it's going to end up being McDavid.
I don't know if Edmonton's ever going to win anything.
It doesn't matter. He ain't going to be there for much longer.
He's signed forever. He's going to have to play the bad guy. He's going to have to be a MFer to get out of there. He's going to have to do the whole NBA diva thing to get out of there. They signed him long term.
Howard, or what's not Howard? Who's the bad GM?
Holland?
Holland may have to trade him, I'm telling you.
Well, first off, come on. If you were the GM there, you and I would never trade him.
No, but Kenny Holland's an awful general manager. He's an awful salary cap general manager. Awful.
I understand. But if you're Holland, though, you can't trade him. You're done. Be the last thing you ever do in the league. They'll run you out of town. No one else will hire you. Trade away Connor McDavid, for God's sakes. Mike Smith's gotten hot for them. They've been playing really well, getting their hopes up.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
We'll say they're probably going to get the LA Kings in the first round. They really should be able to beat them.
Just give me a Colorado Edmonton second round.
Totally. Matchup. Oh, my God. It would be great. Listen, I'm a Ranger fan. So to ask me about Mark Messier, but I would put Gordie Howe on the Rushmore before I'd put Messier. Barely.
Oh, the woman who did the plaster caster of all the rock stars members died. Cynthia Plastercaster L. Britton. Quite a woman.
First off, Zion should be wanting to come back, by the way. That would tell me all I need to know. If I'm New Orleans, if he doesn't even want to play in this series, we got a chance to beat Phoenix.
And he provides all the things that they could use: more rebounding, better screens, better interior offense.
Could make Ayton work, maybe pick up a couple fouls on him.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Second chance points. All that
well,
stuff.
The other thing is, quite frankly, you might need to showcase yourself for the, because the Knicks and other teams would obviously be interested in Zion. But, dude, you got to show us that you're remotely healthy. Schefter doesn't get most of his info from players. Schefter gets his info from coaches and general managers and agents. Same with Woj. It's why, and you can tell by what it is they report and how they report it. Like Shams, he gets his info from players.
Shams is good.
Yes, he is.
He's really freaking good.
I think he's far better than Woj.
I think so too. All right. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the home stretch. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network. Daryl LaMonica passed away yesterday at 80. Guy Lafleur passed away today at 70. The Mad Bomber and the Flower. Great nicknames.
Tremendous.
We don't do nicknames like we used to, do we?
Well, now the player has to make up his own nickname.
You're so right, though. The nicknames in the 80s in basketball were amazing. Chocolate Thunder, the Iceman,
World be free.
World Be Free.
All right. Just quickly before we do what we normally do, you grabbed in that studio, there was like 2 dozen football cards.
Yes.
And these were players that for the most part you didn't know. They were
I did
before
not
your time.
know a single one, no.
They were late 80s to 90s players. And he started going through them, and how many of them had nicknames? Like he reads Craig Hayward. And you and I, before he's done, are yelling, Ironhead! And there were, 3-4 guys who all had nicknames. And he's looking at us.
Well, I know we talk about, getting posterized now, but, it's also the time when the 70s and 80s, like, we had posters in our bedroom. I don't know if you grew up in a generation where posters went on the wall. That was a big thing in our generation.
The new poster is the lock screen on your phone. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
wallpaper.
If you went to a bedroom of yourself growing up generation before, your bedroom would have been full of posters and a few swimsuit model, pictures from SI. But that was like the modern kid's bedroom.
I will say, though, in my bedroom at home, I have posters.
Well, of course you do.
And I used to have a fat head, but we took that down.
Are the posters of you playing pickup games?
I always enjoy the fatheads at college basketball games. I think you could tell how good the student sections are by A, how many fatheads they have, and B, who they have the fatheads of. Like one time, and I know I've told this story before, but Felipe, I don't know if you heard it, FGCU, when they were not what they are now, they were in their transition. They were in their first or second year as Division I. And they played at Kansas. They were the first game Kansas played after they won the 2008 championship. So they were the opener for the 08-09 season. And FGCU, like I said, is a transitional Division I program. And the Jayhawk student section had fatheads of 3 different FGCU players. Exactly.
What?
Felipe,
how?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And Delvin Franklin was far and away their best free throw shooter. He was an 85% free throw shooter. He was a senior, I believe, playing in that game. And he stepped to the free throw line, and he's staring at 2 fatheads of himself at a sold-out Allen Fieldhouse there. And he not only did he miss 2 free throws, he almost airballed the free throw. 85% free throw shooter staring at 2 big fatheads in the crowd of himself.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
What do you say we give Felipe a fathead of one of us? What do you say?
Or we can just take a picture of you.
I resemble that.
That was for your buddy that's been texting you during the show. I know he appreciated that joke. Your mom, maybe not so much.
Where do we go here? How about 1876?
Okay.
How about that? First ever National League Baseball game was played on this date in 1876 between the Boston Red Caps and the Philadelphia Athletics. It was in Philadelphia. The Red Caps, a 6-5 winner. Historic day, Mark. Today, 1915, the Yankees don the pinstripes for the first time. Best uniform in sports?
It's
Home Yankee uniforms.
Home Yankee uniform is great.
The whites
It
and the black
is.
pinstripes.
With LaFleur dying, I am partial to the Habitants.
To the whites. Home ones. And
I think those are pretty special as well.
All right, Felipe, very quickly, what do you think are the best uniforms? And by the way, only one. The best uniform in sports is? God. Thank you. Okay, says no to the Yankees right away.
But
doesn't
can't
have a
give you an
better
answer.
one.
I like the Red Sox uniforms better.
You think the the best uniform in sports, you think are the Red Sox And it's never an away uniform. So the Red Sox home uniforms, you think are the best uniforms in sports.
FC Barcelona.
Got to take your word on that.
He might be fired for that comment. That's as close as I've come to firing someone on air right there.
This day in
FC Barcelona.
Their standard red-blue, iconic.
68 years ago today, 1954, the NBA, A, adopts the 24-second shot clock, and B, adopts the 6 foul rule. Big day in 54. I mean, think about it, 68 years later, both still in effect. All right. This is for you and I, Mark.
Okay.
1959. Whitey Ford. 15 strikeouts. He beat the Washington Senators 1-0.
How many innings did he pitch?
14.
Okay.
Tom Seaver on this date in 1970 struck out the final 10 batters of the game against the Padres at home at Shea. He had 19 strikeouts. It tied Steve Carlton for the then major league all-time record of 19 strikeouts in a game. 1976, Barbara Walters, first ever female anchor of a network newscast, the ABC Nightly News. She co-anchored it with Harry Reasoner. He hated her guts and treated her like crap. And Harry didn't deny it either. Wanted no part of it. 1979, the Rolling Stones played not one but 2 charity concerts in Canada, both of them to benefit the National Institute of the Blind. Why did they play those concerts, Mark?
Didn't Mick or Keith get busted for weed?
Keith Richards got busted for heroin.
Oh, heroin. That's right. He got busted for heroin, and to get out of it, he just had to play a couple shows.
Was part of his sentencing. And so Mick and the boys looked at Keith and said, "You owe us." And they did 2 charitable concerts in Canada. 1981, you had to be there to experience it. Fernando Mania is starting to roll down the highway because he just pitched his 3rd shutout in his first 4 career starts. Fernando Mania was a real thing in
Baseball
1981.
Was so big.
Yes, it was. He was the biggest thing in sports.
Yep.
Johnny Carson on this day in 91 announced his retirement 13 months from now from The Tonight Show. He did it at the NBC. They meet with the
affiliate.
Right.
Set it on all the new shows and all that stuff.
Right. And then they try to get advertisers, this is what we're doing. And they asked Johnny if he would be the presenter for NBC. And he said, sure. And he didn't tell any of them. And so he went up there and he goes, by the way, I'm out of here in a year.
He always said yes to hosting.
And I believe he went right over and did Letterman, who was still with NBC.
Right.
But he went over and did Letterman's show. Jeff George in 1990 on this day was the number 1 overall pick of the draft, went to the Colts. The Holocaust Museum was dedicated on this day in Washington, D.C. in 1993. Kajana Carter, first overall to the Bengals on this day in 95. Animal Kingdom opened in Orlando, Disney World, on this day in 98.
Anything going on with Disney these days?
I wonder where they're moving to. Valdosta, Georgia.
Hello.
On this day in 2000, the feds, in a pre-dawn raid, seized Elian Gonzalez from his American relatives.
I know about that. Finally, something I know about in the show. Oh my gosh.
You don't know about Animal Kingdom near Orlando?
No.
In Orlando? That's funny.
That's spectacular.
Sam Bradford, number 1 pick of the draft on this day to the Rams in 2010. Veep premiered 10 years ago tonight on HBO. And The Avengers Endgame premiered 3 years ago today in Los Angeles. Mark Lennon, Glenn Campbell, Robert Oppenheimer, he created the atomic bomb, Aaron Spelling, and Eddie Albert all no longer with us, all born on this day. Spencer Haywood, Jeff Hostetler, Jimmy Key, Bimbo Coles, Ken Dorsey, Duncan Robinson.
Debo.
Spencer's 73, Hostetler and Key are both 61, Bimbo's 54. It's another nickname, by the way. Dorsey's 41, Duncan Robinson 28. Machine Gun Kelly is 32. Peter Frampton is 72. But the biggie, Jack Nicholson's 85.
Oh, nice.
And that is Today Was the Day.
All right, I've got a couple of omissions that I can't believe you left off. 1898, Baltimore's James Hughes no-hits the Boston Braves 8-0. On the same day, Cincinnati Red Theodore Brittenstein no-hits the Pirates. 2 no-hitters, same day, 1898, and Moulton omits it. Not to mention it was Babe Ruth's first professional game today in 1914. He had a 6-hit, 6-0 shutout win as a pitcher.
Yeah, but I think it was in the minors. That's why I didn't mention it. Because, like, yesterday was Ty Cobb's first ever game back in, like, 1904. But it was in the South Atlantic.
You can justify not using this any way you want. It's my errors and omissions.
That's true.
And finally, it was today in 1978 that Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi debuted as the Blues Brothers on Saturday Night Live, becoming the first characters from the show to get their own movie.
I've got one more too.
Uh-oh.
Today in 1970 was the first Earth Day. So happy Earth Day.
Look at Earth Day Felipe over there.
Look at the younger generation
Oh.
chipping in there.
Why don't you go recycle something?
I was going to say.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to the Gulf of Mexico off of Destin, where Captain Jake Matney, Devin Sarver, and Jeff Colbert set a record, catching a 832-pound bluefin tuna. It is the largest bluefin tuna ever recorded in the history of the state of Florida. On the 50-foot boat, the boat doesn't look that big with that fish on it. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to say, they're hanging that sucker off the end.
For the bad, we go to the friendly skies again, David, where Cynthia McKnight's a 24-year-old from Sacramento. She was on a flight that was scheduled to go from Buffalo Niagara Airport to O'Hare. She was a little off to start, and before the plane could reach the jet bridge as it was coming back because of her being disruptive, they weren't even going to push back. They're trying to get it back to the jet bridge. She decided to open the boarding door, deploying the emergency slide, and then jumped on the slide and made it onto the tarmac. Finally, the ugly. We go to Northport, where Philip Tran has been charged with burglary and grand theft after he used a full-size sword to break into the drive-through window of a Northport Wendy's. Once inside, he took various food items, a fire extinguisher, and later discharged the fire extinguisher inside the Wendy's. No word on what he had to eat and whether or not the Frosty machine was turned on. That, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Earth Day, April the 22nd.
Marlins are in Atlanta to play the Braves. Rays are home to face the Red Sox. Remember, no Joey Cora because he's got COVID. So Red Sox manager will not be there all weekend. What else we got? Oh, yeah, Cabrera goes for 3,000. Tonight, the Tigers hosting the Rockies.
Cardinals at the Reds. Don't know what the crowd will be, but you have to root against the Reds right now, don't you? I mean, don't you want this losing streak to continue?
Yes, because where are you going to go? NBA, 3 playoff games. Heat in Atlanta is a 1.5-point favorite. Milwaukee and Chicago is a 2.5-point favorite. No Chris Middleton. Phoenix in New Orleans is a 1.5-point favorite. No Devin Booker. It'll be interesting to see if the Bulls and the Pelicans are good enough to take advantage of these significant injuries.
Where you at, Zion? Come on.
Yeah, really. Come on, big fella. Show you want to play, period, and show you want to play for New Orleans.
Would be nice. It would be nice. Marlins are at the Braves tonight. We already mentioned the Rays are hosting the Sox. For the record, the Yankees are the biggest favorite on the board. They host the Guardians tonight.
4 NHL games. Colorado's in Edmonton. It's interesting.
Well, it is because Colorado now 2 back of Florida last night with the Panthers win over Detroit. Florida holds right now first overall for the President's Cup.
Miller and Moulton. Hope you've enjoyed the week. We'll be back at it on Monday, full week next week. And remember, Thursday night, NFL Draft, we will have a 4 to 5 hour broadcast on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. And thanks for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip